When we came here this morning, I was the first one in here, and I found something up here. It was a dead body. We cleaned it up though. No, okay.
It's still sitting there.
Yeah, it's still sitting there. It's right here. And we decided, or I decided, that I was going to let all you try to figure out who committed the murder. So who done it? Who did it? So we're going to do kind of a Clue style. Everyone knows what Clue board game is? Yes, no? Yeah. Young guys may not know. So Clue style, right? So we're going to have you guys try to figure out who committed the murder. It's obviously happened in here. But I was able to get all the forensic clues that I can from it, and we sent it off to Macon, Randolph-Macon, Mason, all those schools. And they've sent me the report back, and I was able to put it up in a presentation for you guys. So as we go through the 7 laws, we're also going to get clues about who done it, who did it. Is anybody confused about that? Yeah. Yes. Holy moly. That means you haven't played Clue then. So what Clue usually is there's a murderer, a room, and a weapon. Obviously, the room is J.R. Tucker, so we can eliminate that one. So we need you guys to figure out who did it and with what weapon. The ballots are right there. We will pass out a ballot for you to cast your votes. The, I guess, top 2 or 3 guys that did it correct.
Got prizes?
We got prizes for you. And then we may have some black shirts, and then we also have plate brushes and indicators to give away, I think. But what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to have, unfortunately, Yoder and Carilli are going to do most of the talking, as we usually have them do, because they like to talk and they can last a long time. But I'm going to go through our first example, which is ODUA. So if I was up here first, we'd go through the law number, which would be law 1. Location is where the forensic test went on top of it. Huh? Talk this way. Okay.
The pencils are yours to keep. You're welcome. Take one.
It'll be 2 smaller circles that goes into the law number, which is also your law definition, and there will be usually 2 videos that the presenter is going to go over. They'll talk about how the umpire did the law correctly, how they made a mistake, how they could adjust to it, or whatever other comments they want to, because you know Yoder and Carilli will. We'll do that, and then we'll switch over to a question. So we'll have a question up there, and we will have 4 answers. 1 slide has 2 answers. Under each answer, clue. So what you can do is write on the back of your ballot down the clues, so you can kind of remember who did it. So for example, where's the College World Series played? If you picked Richmond, Virginia, you'd write down the killer had a red shirt on. If you picked Omaha, Nebraska, you'd write down he had a blue shirt on. Any questions about that? Everybody here okay? I'm trying to yell.
Everybody here okay?
Chris, we can't hear you. You turn your head.
Right.
We can't hear you now.
Okay. What do I need to repeat, Shoemaker?
More like.
It helps if he's listening. There's a big stack right there.
Ballots are still going around. Mechanical pencils are still going around, right? Any questions about the question or how it's going to work?
You're going to turn in your ballot or your guess at the end of the 7th law. So that's, you have to hang on to that all day. You can turn it over and make notes on the back to keep track of what's going on. But at the end of the day, you have to pick a killer and a weapon. Right? Everybody clear on that? That's what's on your ballot. So you're going to get clues throughout the day that are going to tell you about that, and they're going to be based on your answer to the question that comes up at the end of the law presentation.
We will not tell you the correct answer. If we did, it'd give it away. So you got to figure it out on your own. Is everybody ready? It's
coming around.
It's coming around.
There are guys standing there with ballots and pencils in your hand, and we'll get to you. We'll make sure that you have them.
Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to get ballots and figure out questions. All right. My first presenter is Mr. Clemens.
All right, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good to see most of you.
So just hang on.
Exception never rules, Scott. Jackson's all right.
Hey, Chris, we need to show your screen. Show your screen. No. No.
We're also recording this as a webinar, so we'll back up on you.
First four things. It's very hard to play catch up in that situation. You know, and as our level, in our association, we're expecting you to do those things. Don't be lazy. You know, as I work with umpires, you know, just as you do, don't be the lazy guy. Be the guy that when you get assigned with that partner, you're like, cool, this is going to be a good game. Maybe I can learn something. Okay, just because I've been here 6 years-ish doesn't mean I can't learn something from a first-year guy. I mean, I can't learn something from, you know, Mac. Go in there and say, hey, well, why did you do this? If you see something, why did you do this? Don't say it's wrong. Just ask them why they did it. I mean, you work with Tony. He tries to rewrite the CCA manual most years. Okay, but he's got a reason for what he does. Right or wrong, most of the time he's in the right position. Think outside the box sometimes. This is what you've got to do when we umpire. Not every play is the same. So you got to be able to take plays, adjust the plays, do all that stuff. But if you don't anticipate the first thing and know the priorities, then you're going to be stuck. Any questions about that? I know we harp on this a lot, but as I go, my daughter started playing softball. And that's herding cats too. But watching other umpires do things, and you shake your head sometimes, and you're like, what? Really? Okay, I don't say anything because I'll be upset. Right? Just let it play. Our association does a fantastic job of training, of getting you ready if you want to do that. Okay? And knowing these priorities, knowing these laws front to back, sideways, it will keep you out of a lot of trouble. Okay? Don't go to number 2 till number 1 is done. Any questions?
Yeah, you weren't recording.
No questions. Okay. Guys, I appreciate your attention. You know, I know.
Second play?
Yeah.
A second play? Yeah.
No, you don't have this video, just,
Yeah.
it goes to the question.
Yeah.
No, it's forward.
Forward?
Yeah, because you have the question tag.
Oh, I got you.
Not yet.
Here's our question, guys.
Press it again. Go for
Got
it.
you, boss.
Click. There you go.
All right, so I'll just let you read the question first, then I'll put the answers up there.
Were you not in the go-to meeting?
Huh?
Were you not in the go-to meeting?
No, got basketball.
That's right.
All right, so what you're going to do, just to remind you, there's a scenario, whatever one you pick out of the group you think is the correct answer, that's your clue. You can write that down.
Y'all read that stuff in the black? Okay. Yeah, that was my concern too. All right. Take this off. Yeah.
So if you got runner on first, runner on third, 1 out, 2 count, 2-0 count, Both runners stealing, batter swinging, catcher reaches forward and contacts the batter's bat. Fouls off the pitch, what happens next? So again, if you choose catcher interference as your answer, that you're awarding batter runner first and R1 awarded second and third, that's the clue you write down. Right straight?
Let's give him a few more minutes. Because we got first year guys here too. That's how I get it right. True.
First year guys might get it right.
Including me, including my presentation. Yeah.
Only got one?
That's good. Anybody need more time? Everybody good?
Thumbs up, everybody.
If you need a couple more minutes, that's fine. We got plenty of time. We got time to kill. Yeah,
All right, moving on to law number 2. Doug talked about anticipating plays, understanding that in a 2-man crew, law number 2 says that we need to get a proper position by acquiring the right angle and the correct distance. The correct angle and the correct distance. And the big field that we work on. In all of that space, 2-man makes it very difficult sometimes to get these angles. So in anticipation, as Doug talked about with Law 1, of what goes on prior to a play happening, then can allow me to be moving to get distance and angle. Somebody might say that there's a perfect angle for every play. Can we get there? How far can we go on one play as far as acquiring distance? What's the correct answer to that? Only as far as I can get to the next play. Right? So if I only have one runner, that limits additional plays. But if I got multiple runners, then it's going to make me change what distance I acquire. Therefore, the angle becomes very important. Let's take a look at a play. Good. Rich, you got to play it for me?
It'll go. It's got to load. It'll go.
That's loading. Technology is only as good as long as it works, right? And won't play.
My dog gives them to eat.
I would say somehow refresh it.
All right, so let's talk. I'll set the play up for you, so once he gets it rolling, we have multiple runners first and third, I believe. Ball hit to the first baseman on a ground ball and throws it home. So if you're the plate guy, you're already anticipating what play is follow law 1. That they're going to throw it home. I'm standing behind the catcher, and as we prep pitch, the infield moves in. What does that tell me? Opportunity arises, they're going to throw it home. So I immediately begin to talk about and think about where I'm going to go on the play if they throw it home, which is what they're anticipating doing. So if you kind of play that scenario in your mind, the ball's hit to the first baseman. What's your reaction as a plate guy?
Good Lord.
What's my best angle?
Huh?
Am I gonna stand here? Am I gonna take a step up? Am I gonna take a step to my right, step to my left, back up? You know, Hank in the old days, they go, what?
Oh, okay.
Everybody's
This is
not
the
doing
second
it.
one.
Don't do that anymore. Point of plate.
I got one.
All right, here we go.
Number 2.
No, that's the foul tip.
You get it?
Should be this one.
It's the one with.
It's the Giants and the Dodgers. There you go.
No,
Yeah, that's the right one.
And the Seagull's the next one.
and I was talking about the plate.
Okay. I
Go
get
back
it.
to the other one, do that one second. I didn't even talk about first yet.
Oh.
This is the one I want. All right, here we go.
Fuck. Why? Why won't it?
Free pitch, all hit the first baseman. What am I doing? Oh, there we go. Pause it right
Oh, crap.
now. Okay, let's talk about angle on this play. Would anybody change what you have in this scenario worthy of umpire?
Well, there's two places you can put them. You can put them in a catcher's pocket, or you can put them down third base extended. It's kind of like in flux right now.
Okay, so
Good
you're
point,
saying
Yeah.
step up with the catcher or go here to the right, to the left-handed batter's box. Which is going to give me the better angle?
At this point, do you know where the play is going to happen? Do you know where the tag's going to happen yet? Only because you've seen the play.
Right.
How do you know at this point where the swipe tag is going to be, or if it's going to be a swipe tag, if it's going to be a collision at the front edge of the plate?
So, again, looking at all my possibilities, stepping up slightly, staying with this catcher is the best thing to do right now. Because if he were to drop down in front of that plate and block it, I got a little different angle than just what ends up being a swipe play. But if we know it's a swipe play, then stepping to the right will give me the best angle. Now, this umpire stays right where he is. If you don't do anything else, at least stay where you are. Because I can't tell you how many times in observing umpires, the ball is hit and guys do this. Nowhere will that help you anymore in deciding a play at the plate and backing away. Okay, we got to work angle here. Okay, let it run through. But right, stop. We can all see this is the angle to best see what's going on. And that would put me right here. Can we move once this play develops? Yes. And that is a change for some of you guys that have been around. When I went a long time ago, it was lock in and lock in. Now, we now have to move as this play develops. A step here, you can see would open up the angle. And that's why guys talk about staying with the catcher's hip pocket. He always takes me to the play. So when his butt went this way, guess what? If I step with him, it's going to open the angle up for me. Okay, go ahead and run it. And this guy does a great job. You don't see it on the end there, but a great job of moving that head up, finding the ball like in the last play Doug talked about not doing. If you watch him, he looks at the catcher. Look at him look up at the catcher to make sure the ball's been secured after that tag. But you can see collision with the runner says I could have been somewhere slightly different. But the speed of this game is very fast. Okay? And sometimes we get caught, but again, he didn't go anywhere. That's the best thing. If nothing else, at least stay where you are and you can see this tag. And we can all see the tag is made. You can see his head looking right down on it. So he's not in a real bad position. But again, we're hoping to get a proper angle by developing those things. How do I learn this right here? Yes. But how can I learn that right there?
Because he continues to adjust.
You got to continue to adjust. Sitting in this room helps you learn it. But now you've got it mentally. How are you physically going to practice this? You got to be thinking about stuff like this in your scrimmages, your times, getting out and doing it yourself. Simply thinking about how these things develop. Because this application of angle applies to every base we work now. When we have a tag. Greg.
Warren, do you differentiate getting an angle and your movement differently?
I send it over to you. Send it over to you as a presentator. Do you think it'd work better?
From balls hit from the outfield.
The ball hitting the infield is going to happen much faster. So, in thinking about going to that ball into first base, that step, that direction may be all I
We'll
get
take a
in.
break and switch.
Where I throw from the outfield, as I'm reading the throw, it's going to develop a whole lot more about what the catcher is going to do with this tag. And about the time it hits about the infield, I should have an idea now, is he going to run up the line and get it because it's a wide throw and come back to the tag, or is it right to him? And we're going to have a lockdown. So again, anticipating the throw from the outfield gives you a lot more time to make those adjustments. I don't know, did I answer
I
your
don't know if
question?
it's that or if
So
it's
on the
just.
infield, a lot of times
Is your present going to shitty?
Just like you did. You may not only have time to stand right where you are. The biggest thing you get out of it, though, is just don't go anywhere. And so many guys want to run away from it. Stay right with the play.
We just ran through the
All
whole
right, the second play, that's the deal. Yes, sir.
So where I'm sorry, where the umpire is, back up a little bit.
You gotta tell me how far back.
When the runners three steps up the line. That's fine. Where that umpire is right now, okay, you don't know if that's going to be a swipe tag yet, right? So we're talking about getting up in the left-handed batter's box. Somebody mentioned that. If you get up there at that point and the catcher drops down to block the base and you're in the left-handed batter's box, what do you got? Sweep holes and elbows, right? So where he is right now, he's not committed. He can still take a step left and adjust for a collision play or for a race to the front of the plate. He can take a step right or at least lean right, because at this point, he can't get to the left-hand batter's box. He's going to get trucked. You guys saw the play come through and him slide with his cleats up. He's going to get trucked. But that's the whole point of not only anticipating, but then being in a place where you can make an adjustment step to get the angle. One step to the left puts him basically first base line extended, and you got body, glove coming together.
Okay. Any other questions about this play? Comments? Yes, sir.
Speaking of experience, if he goes to the right hand, the left hand, it is a play. You're right. He's not going to see it because what if the guy doesn't when he slides, the ball pops out, then he comes up. You know, when he tags, he does this happen. Yeah, you better off staying where he's at, or if he has to, be able to adjust that way. So everything is there. This picture, the catcher actually came up too.
Well,
The catcher went the other way like this.
The closer I am to something, the angle increases with the step. So that chair right there, my angle increased dramatically, but to you, as far as you are, I didn't change my angle hardly any. So again, proximity in tag plays, which is a change for some of you guys, will allow the adjustment with slight steps. The angle opens up a lot differently with smaller steps than a long distance. So when we used to go to the edge of the circle, you know, we put ourselves in a lot of predicaments. Any other comments, questions? All right, the next play. Yes, sir.
Remember, what we're doing is we're trying to demonstrate the law here. The first law was to anticipate plays and not their outcomes. And so this plate umpire is anticipating a play at the plate. He anticipates the play at the plate. The second law says proper position is defined by angle and distance. So if we had to ask, is this guy in a proper position, we have to ask, does he have the right angle? Does he have the right distance? right? So understand that's what, and we will build on that for you guys that are trying to go next. And the guys that have been through the training in the last few years, you know what Law 3 is, which piggybacks on Law 2, which piggybacked on Law 1, right? So Law 1 is, hey, we're working in a 2 to 3 acre space, right? And old school, they used to tell us, don't anticipate. Well, you can't not anticipate an umpire, right? Right? A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. You have to have some ability to anticipate what's going to happen and where you need to be. Because if you can anticipate where you need to be, you at least have a head start on getting there. This umpire anticipated the play at the plate, so what did he do? I need to be right here, and he stayed there. And now we understand, as we looked at this play, his position is defined by distance and angle. We're going to look at it again.
Okay, obviously this play is going to involve something at first. And creating an angle to properly see this play. So go ahead and play it, Chris.
Yep.
Let them see.
We don't care about the outcome. We don't care about everything else. We're just going to the law. I love that right there. Okay. This is going to show it again.
All right, so in taking into 2 laws, anticipate the play, where's the throw coming from? In the box area. That should tell us about how to create a different angle. How many times do you think he's gone out and got an angle on a play? Thousands and thousands. Okay. What changes then this play is simply where the throw is coming from. We need to have an angle to see what 2 things. The runner touching the base and the ball in the glove. And we all would agree that this angle does not give us that opportunity. If you were going to change this umpire, if you were critiquing him and giving him, he's a first-year guy, what would you tell him to do with his angle? Pause it. On plays from the box, if we draw a line from corner to corner, that should be the minimum angle that we should acquire, 45-degree angle. We used to, I don't see JT today, but what? We used to go to 90 degrees, which would then take into this play perfect. But our starting point now should be a minimum 45 on throws from the box. Can we make an adjustment step here?
Real quick, because we're using the phrase box, and I'm not sure that everybody in the room understands what we mean. So let's talk about what the box means. Okay? The box is really a hockey stick. It's not a box. Okay? So what you're talking about is throws that come out of an area that's going to create this issue. Okay? So that's what you have to think about. Where on the diamond can throws create this issue? Where the first baseman is going that way, and the runner is going to go down and try to get to the edge of the bag. So if you think about where those positions are, they're going to be in an area that's going to run down the first baseline, come down to about maybe 10 feet outside the grass circle, and then run across to the third baseline. That's the box. The box is not 45 feet in front of the plate. It really is about 18, 20 feet in the plate, and then runs up the first baseline. Those are the places you have to anticipate. So that's what we mean by the box. Does everybody understand what we're talking about? So you draw basically if this is the plate and these are the foul lines, the box looks like this, about 20 feet away from the plate, and then it's got a handle on it that runs up the first baseline, probably to about the 45-foot line, maybe a little bit more. So it kind of looks like that. Looks like a rectangle, like a hockey stick, okay? and it runs up like that, or maybe a field hockey stick. It's got a big club on the bottom of it, right? So it runs up that way. And the reason that you think about the box is for this play right here is, as Warren said, we would like to be able to get in a position to see now that guy, the ball going into the glove, and this guy coming here. And the further down we can get, right, the further down we can get, the better you're going to have on that angle. And also think about distance and visibility. So that's what the box is.
So
Everybody understand the box?
what do you think about his distance?
Your eyes can't look up and down. You have to look up.
So how far is that perception-wise? 12 feet? 10 feet? Would distance backing up help him or hurt him? It's going to help. It's going to open up my angle a little bit, which allows me to see more things. The further I get away from you guys, the more you can see of me. When I get up too close to you, you've got to do this with your head to see it all. You're not going to have time to do that on this play. So we can get too close on horse plays because we cannot see the entire picture. So when you talk about the proper angle, getting there by anticipating the play, now getting the angle, and you need to have the right distance. And first base plays, we all do them in 2-man, 3-man, and 4-man. Require a lot of experience. But what? Go back to law 1. I had to anticipate what's going on in order to get there. Yes, sir.
Warren, it seems to me that a big factor in this play is he didn't anticipate the guy was going to do a head first slide. That makes it seem work in the ball. He's not getting a normal, put it in the bag, even put it in the bag and the ball. It's just a different dynamic.
Well, and I'm assuming something, but how many times does this guy go to this spot? And maybe he just did it out of routine without thinking about something could develop completely different. So every play needs to give its own ownership.
That's why Bosher came
to
out.
the fact that it can change. But creating the first position can help me when things do go different. So if he had gotten it at least to 45, and now he's at least in a better spot to see this play as it develops. Any other questions before we go to our clue? All right, skip that one. All right, R3, run on third, 1 out, 2-2 count.
Okay.
Batter hits a pop fly in foul territory over by the third base side. It says, as the third baseman is moving to catch the ball, the coach, who is also looking up at the ball, the third baseman runs into the coach while he's in the coach's box. They both fall on the ground. The ball is ruled a foul ball. But what do we do next? Here are your possible choices. We call coach's interference. The batter is given first base, and R3 stays at third. If you were given that, it means the criminal has a PhD. We call it a foul ball. The coach was in the coach's box and allowed to stay there. If you believe that's the correct answer, then the criminal's education is a bachelor's degree. We call a foul ball. The batter is out on strike 3. R3, the runner at third, stays at third. The criminal has a master's degree. Last option is coach's interference. The batter is ruled out, and R3 stays at third, and that means the criminal has a high school education. Questions, comments before we move on? Okay, thank you, Dr. Carilli.
All right, we're going to take, as our want has become in about the last 5 years, we're not going to make you sit still more than 45 minutes or 50 minutes. We're going to take a break, and we're going to take 15 minutes. If you want to go do with the vendor, please take care of whatever you want to do with the vendor. We'll start again in 15 minutes. Get your coffee, get some donuts, and we'll start again in 15 minutes.
Gracias.
Oh my God. All righty.
You ready to talk about the box now?
All right. Yoder, because he can't help himself, after we mentioned the box, Yoder said, does this look like what the box looks like? And you know what? Yes, that's roughly more or less what we're talking about. That's more or less what we're talking about, the box. Notice it doesn't go halfway up the line. It does extend a little bit more on the first baseline because remember, what are we looking for? You're anticipating the play. Anticipating the play means you're anticipating the first baseman moving in a direction to receive the ball and the runner moving in a direction, right? First rule is anticipate the play. Okay? Anticipate the play. That's the first law. So that's kind of what the box looks like. So before I get started on my laws, I would like to thank the gentleman from Tucker and the gentleman from Matoaka for ceding their time to me. So that means now I don't have to censor myself as much because guess what? I get to go to lunch.
You poor people.
Give me that look, Hank. Okay. All right. I gotta.
Unless you want me to do it.
So let's back up and review real quick because these laws build themselves. Right. The first law was anticipate outcomes or anticipate plays, not outcomes. Right. Anticipate plays, not outcomes. The field that we work on is 2 to 3 acres big. Right. It's a giant field. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. Right. So one of the reasons we put you in positions we do and tell you talk about these things is we have to cover a big giant area. And we have to cover a relatively large area with 2 of us. Right? We have to take care of a couple 3 acres with 2 of us. That's a lot of place for 2 people to look at. But if we can anticipate the play, where plays will occur, and by the way, we use the word play and we really haven't defined it. Remind us of what a play is. What's a play? Ball and a runner arriving roughly at the same time, right? So a play also has to be a legitimate attempt to put out a run, right? Either one of those things, but notice ball and runner, a legitimate attempt to put out a run. If a guy fields a ground ball and the guy runs in front of him and he doesn't do this, there was no legitimate attempt to put out a runner, right? That all matters for other rules, but that's what we're going to call a play, right? So anticipate plays, which means what? We want to anticipate where the ball and runner will show up on the next play. That anticipation is going to change throughout the development of the play, and that'll come into later laws, okay? Law number 2 was proper position is defined by angle and distance, right? Angle and distance. So the proper position, angle, and distance, real quick rules of thumb on distances. On distances, we would like you, and for the purposes of this discussion only, I will call plays at first base force plays. Yes, I'm aware that they're not force plays, because a force play by definition is a play in which a runner loses his right to occupy the base by virtue of the batter becoming a runner. So the batter can never be forced at first base, but it's easier just to call them force plays. Okay, everybody good with that? I understand what I'm doing. Does everybody understand what I'm doing there? Okay, is Jeff online? Okay. A little fun with Jeff, because he likes to ask me those questions. Okay?
Huh?
Oh, there you are, Jeff. I didn't see you back there. So you are online, just physically. Okay? So, force plays, we would like to have perspective. Right? As Warren said, the further away of something you are, the easier it is to see everything. Because if you think about what has to happen on a force play, you likely have to see something going on over here and over there. Right? You have to see something here and over here. And unless you got lizard eyes, and you could put one up there and one down there, the closer you are to that, the harder it's going to be to see those two things, right? The further away you are, the easier it's going to be to see those two things. But when we talk about distance, think about this. Some of you have heard me say this before. There's a credibility, right? A credibility trade-off, right? As I get closer, I'm more credible, right? But what happens to my visibility? That was the other word I was groping for. Credibility, visibility trade-off. As I get closer, my credibility goes up with everybody in the whole ballpark, doesn't it? Everybody believes, look at that dude, he's right on top of that. I'm going to show you a play where we're going to have a guy that's like, he could have been tagged out by the play. Okay? And he's really credible. The problem is he didn't get it right because he didn't have good angle, right? It happens. They happen. So we have credibility, visibility, right? Credibility, visibility. And as Price just said here, as I get closer, my visibility goes down. As I back up, my visibility goes up. So as I back up, what happens to my credibility? It goes down, right? As I get closer, what happens to my visibility? It gets reduced, right? So somewhere between there, as credibility goes down and visibility goes up, there's a place where they go whoop, where they go by each other, like that. That's about where we want you to be. Turns out, on a force play, that's roughly 20 to 25 feet. And that's roughly 20 to 25 feet. 20 at the closest, 25, 26 at the furthest, okay? That's going to give you more visibility. If you get further away from that, your credibility is going to come down, right? Your credibility is going to come down. And we have to fight, we know, every day on the field for credibility, which is why if you wear the lovely uniform with the stripes and you all look good and you're matched up and your belts all match and your shoes all match, and we go out there looking good, we could fool them for 3 innings, right, Kyle? Okay? It's worked for Kyle for his whole career, okay? I can fool them for 3 innings. They think I'm an umpire. So credibility, visibility. So when we talk about force plays, we're looking to be 20 to 25 feet. We used to say 18 to 20. Turns out we're better off 20 to 25. We get more visibility. Okay? More visibility because we can see more this way, because we have to see these two things. Tag plays, we've gone the other way. Right? Tag plays, we've gone the other way. We used to say 10 to 12 feet. Now, if you're 10 to 12 feet from a tag, we're going to go, what are you doing way the heck over there? Why are you so far away from that play? Right? We want you now in tag plays to be 5 to 8 feet or closer. Okay? And there's a reason for that, which I'll talk about in my loss. So we're going to get closer for tag plays. The other thing, as Warren said too, as a reminder, is on force plays, we need not to be moving. Right? We would prefer that you be stopped on a force play because you have to see things like this. Right? You have to see things like this. If you're moving, that's a lot harder to see in 2 different directions. That doesn't mean, as you'll see in a later law, as the play develops, you might not want to move from where you're standing right now, but at some point you better stop moving to do that, and we'll talk about that in a later law. On tag plays can't blow up on you because everything you need to see is in the same place, more or less, right? More or less on a tag play. So you can get closer and dial up your credibility. The visibility becomes, there's almost not a trade-off anymore because I can get really close and still see what's going on right here. Okay, so we're going to get closer on tag plays. For the new guys that have just been trained in the last few years, that's not new to you. For some of us old dinosaurs, that's like 3 feet, 5 feet from a tag play. Are you kidding me? I'm going to get killed, right? Well, you saw how close that umpire was in this play, how close he was to that play and the look that he got, which he billed. Remember, his position is defined by angle and distance. So the distance is 20 to 25 on a force play, 5 to 8 on a tag play, and we're going to push you closer as you get better, okay? The angle is always you're trying to, I think it's football officials say referee between the players, right? You want to referee between the players. At least that's right. Was that right? Basketball says referee between the players? Okay. I heard it from a football official. No. Referee between the players. So if you think about what you want to be, is if I want to see these two things come together, you don't want to be looking at it that way, right? That's a bad angle, isn't it? If you want to see these two things to get together, you want that angle, right?
So you want, if you will, a 90-degree angle kind of to what you're trying to look at, or you can run a line between the two things. Okay? You can run a line between the two things. That's what we're looking for. So that's how your angle is defined. So proper distance and angle. Think about what you're trying to look at, why that play blew up on that the umpire in the first play, is he couldn't see his foot or the guy touch because his angle wasn't such that he could see through what was going on. That happens sometimes. You look at the play at the plate, that umpire could see through what was going on, couldn't he? He could see through what was going on. Okay? So we're going to define angle and distance that way. My law, the law that I'm in charge of first talking about, is that proper angle is important to distance. So we started with anticipate, and then there is, as Warren said, there is a perfect place for every play. Right? There is a perfect place for every play. Okay? Every play has a perfect place, but there's no perfect place for every play. Kind of turn it around if you think about that for a second. There is a perfect place for every play, but there's not one place that's perfect for every play, right? So we have to think about around that, okay? So that perfect place is defined by angle and distance. And after the play, it's really easy to decide what it is, right? We can get out a ruler, stop everybody, get out a ruler, measure, get out our protractors, put down the angle, draw the line, and go, boom, right there's where you should have been, right? That's really easy, okay? But that's what we're trying to understand here so we can anticipate that, right? Anticipate plays. When you have to make a choice, right? When you're moving into a play, hustling toward a play, moving toward a play, if you can improve your angle and your distance at the same time, that's great. That's great. But if you can only improve one of them at a time, improve your angle. So the law 3 is angle is primary to distance. Right? Angle is primary to distance. If you can only do one thing, angle first, not distance. Angle first, not distance. Lots of guys want to run at plays without any reference for the angle. And the place that we see that most in two-man is C position steals the third. Guys run at third base. Well, as you run at third base, think about what's happening to your angle as you're gaining proximity. As you're gaining distance, what's happening to your angle? It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, isn't it? Don't run at third base. Open your angle first. Once you have the angle, then improve your distance. Angle is primary to distance. That's law 3. Angle is primary to distance. Okay? Got a video? All right. Stop. Okay? It's okay, we want to evaluate this for purposes, and the fact that I heard, oh, it's kind of cool, which means everybody right now is anticipating, oops, right? Oops, right? So he doesn't have a bad distance. The batter's box is 4 feet wide, right? And he's probably a foot outside of the batter's box, so he's about 5 feet from the, and then another 17 inches to the plate. So he's within 8 feet of that play, right? He's within 8 feet of that play. So his distance isn't bad at all, right? The other reason, as Warren said too, remind you, is the closer you are, the bigger an adjustment will change your angle. Right? I can change my angle almost 180 degrees to here by just stepping over it with one step. But if I want to change my angle 180 degrees to that chair, green chair way there in the back of the room, I got to run a whole lot of steps, don't I? So when we look at him right here, let's think about angle and distance before we watch the play. Right? Angle is primary to distance. But what angle, where do you anticipate that this tag is going to happen right now? And again, this is easy in retrospect. And this is certainly not to take fault with this guy. This is one of the best umpires I've ever worked with. This guy's phenomenal, right? Every once in a while you anticipate wrong and you get caught and you have to figure it out, right? And I think that's what happened here. So if you're looking at that play, what's about to happen? Okay, I got swipe, I got point, I got
Look at the runner right now. He's right over the top of the foul line, essentially, right? Just inside, just in the foul side of the foul line. And it looks to me, the way he's moving right now, all his body's going to go straight through the plate. Like this. He's not going to go wide like this and reach. That's what it looks like right now. Could be wrong about that, right? Okay, could be wrong about that. That doesn't mean it's not going to turn into a swipe tag. I'm just looking at the runner, right? I'm thinking about the runner. The runner's moving this way. Because remember what I told you, you want to referee between the players. So angle is primary to distance. So if you were going to look at that angle, which way do you think you'd like to be able to see that? To his left or to his right? Probably to his left, right? And if you think about it, every angle has a mirror to it. You can get the same angle on any play from 2 points, right? Because if you think about it, I could draw a circle around the play, and I could stand on opposite sides of the circle and have the same angle, right? I could stand on opposite sides of the circle and have the same angle. That doesn't mean I'll have the same look because something else might be in the way, let's say. But there is a place where there's opposite sides. So be aware of that. Because if he was, really lightning fast, he might be able to go to his right and run like 35 feet and get over to the same angle if he went to his left. Make sense? So angle is more important here than distance. He's really close to this play, isn't he? And I'm sure for most of you, this is a scary close to this play. And when you watch the other play at the plate, some of us old timers went, you want me to stand where? I'm going to get hit by spikes in the head. You can't, I can't do that. Okay? So we have to be aware of that. So go ahead and play through. Slightly different look, right? And he did go straight through the plate. So if we think about now, and let's back up that for a second, Chris, because where the throw is coming from is kind of interesting. So let's back up to anticipate. Okay, let's anticipate. The throw is coming from a weird spot, right? Yeah. How many of you have ever seen a throw come from over there to the plate? Doesn't happen very often, right? But it can, right? But you have a guy running from third, and you have a play over there, and that dude's running. He's pretty important, right? I don't know where the other runners were. I can see a batted runner going around first. But he's pretty important, that guy coming home, isn't he? So where's this guy? Where would you anticipate this guy throwing the ball? Home, right? So you're going to anticipate the play at the plate, which our umpire did, right? He anticipated the play at the plate. So now as you anticipate that play, that's a great stop right there. Now as you anticipate that play right here, why might he have gotten over there in the first place? Anybody have an idea? He could have been taking responsibility for a dead ball overthrow. Okay? So my next law is about proper positioning as a function of time. That's my next law is proper positioning as a function of time. We're not quite there yet, so we're going to hold that thought until the next one, okay? Because it adds, this all builds, right? If you think about the laws in the order in which they're written, they build on each other. And you can't do the next one without the one before it. So right now, ideally, if you were this guy, given everything you see, where do you think you might like to be standing? Maybe roughly where the guy in the last video was? Right? Maybe roughly where the guy in the last video was? So that would mean after you call a ball and a strike, just kind of taking a big step forward and standing almost with the point underneath it between your legs. Maybe not that close because you got to worry about getting wrecked, but probably right in there. Because right in there, what could happen? If it turns into a race to the edge of the plate, I can just go boom, and I can see the edge of the plate from right here. If it turns into a swipe tag, I can make an adjustment and go this way. Because in laws 5, we're going to have 5 is going to be every play has 3 positions. Okay? We're not going to go there yet, right? I'll try to avoid going there for right now. So now, if he is in over here, starts over here, probably got a better angle to see that play because he wants to look through those players. So play that out.
Oops, wrong way.
Okay, he's safe, no doubt. So what did being in a bad angle do to this umpire? What happened? He was blocked out, which means he violated like a cardinal rule of umpiring. And the cardinal rule of umpiring is what? One of the cards, lots of cardinal rules, right? We've got too many cardinal rules, okay? But one of the cardinal rules is never put a player between you and the tag. Did he put a player between him and the tag? So could he see the tag? He had no chance of seeing the tag, right? So now what he has to do is use all of the best information he has about when the ball arrived, like we used to do in the oldie time days, right? In the oldie time days, we would have called that dude out. They had an argument. We would have gone, the ball, beat him. What's your problem? Like, let's move along, right? Because in the oldie time days, we would have been like way out there on the edge of the dirt circle, on first base line extended, having the same bad angle, and then making a guess. Unfortunately, as I've said this to other people before, TV changed our game, right? TV changed our game. Yes, they have replay in professional baseball. You go, well, how did TV change high school baseball? Everybody watches professional baseball. Guess what? In the ACC next year, they have replay on judgment calls. It's at college, which means now when people go to college games with their kids that are going to go there, they're going to see replay. They're going to see umpires leave the field and look at a replay at first base to find out whether the guy's out or safe. So that means they expect you to umpire the same way. And that sucks for us because we got to be better than the big league guys. Why? We don't have replay. Well, at least not replay we can fix, right, Yoder? We get it on the Sunday. We get it on the 11 o'clock Thursday night news. And we go, Yoder, why are you standing over there when the guy's over here? Boy, did you miss the heck out of that one? And we go, oh my God, Yoder's the worst player in the whole world, right? After the fact, which is not fair to Yoder. He did the best job he could to get in that position. Absent TV, that play goes away. But TV still lives with us. Whether we like it or not, we have to umpire as if we're on TV. I have that video if you want to show it. Right?
I'm afraid it'll put you back on the ledge.
Yeah. Okay? So, honestly, this is why we're talking about these things. We have to umpire as if we were on TV, but can't fix it. Because you know what? That's what we have to do. Right? That's what we have to do. Wouldn't it be really cool if we could just go to the video after play was over and just look at it and go, come over here, go, hey, Chris, I want you to look at that play. No problem, dude. I had a bad angle. Let me look at that. Yep, he's out. Another guy comes back and goes, look, you know and I know that dude was out, so they're safe. Let's just move along, right? And nobody, it turns into a Twitter feed, and then we look at it to talk about how we can fix our stuff. But Yoder's turned into a Twitter feed, and it was Yoder's an evil, awful guy that hated whatever team it was that they were playing against because he was cheating for the other team they were playing against because he's evil and no good. And really was the same thing as the big league guy. Something happened, I didn't get it right, but I don't have the ability to fix it. Is that fair? No. Is that the world we live in? Yup. Right? It sucks, but that's the world we live in. This is why we talk about, to the newer guys we've talked about, our whole job here trying to do it, UDP, is reduce your stress on the field. Trying to make it so you're not as stressed on the field. We're trying to teach you things that will reduce your stress level. Because let's face it, once you hit the field, this is a stressful activity. This is an incredibly stressful activity. Because you're the only two guys in the same color shirt on the whole field. You're the only two guys that actually believe that neither one cares about the outcome of the game, because everybody else believes you care about the outcome of the game, and everybody else, if they're on this side, believes you want them to win, and if they're on that side, they believe they want you to win. That's the environment we work in, right? Again, this is why we're doing these things, why we talk about these things. So again, we look here. If he was down, if he was right at the point of the plate, he'd have no problem seeing what was going on, would he? If he would like to be, draw that, Chris, where the play's going to be, like right over here, even right there, he's going to see right through it. But now he has a player between him and the tag, right? He has a player between him and the tag. We've all had that happen. Again, notice if we were closer, right? And now he's probably 8 feet away, which I told you was that tight end. If he was in that corner of the batter's box, standing in the batter's box, one step could have changed his angle that much. And that much might have made a huge difference, right? one step right there only changes his angle that much. And that's not going to make a whole lot of a difference on that play. Okay? So proper position is defined by angle and distance. Angle is primary to distance. He's really close to that play. His angle's not very good, right? Okay?
You almost had enough time to go.
Yeah, he did, yes.
Would you mind running that play back in real time?
Sure, go ahead.
The problem with going right is he's gonna have to walk across the floor. He can't go across the floor.
Right.
Let me let it load. Hold on.
He's never gonna gain anything across.
You have time to use one step.
No.
I might.
No.
And again, just to anticipate the thing later, this is why you can only go so far as you believe your next play will allow. And I know this guy, and I'm sure he did. He went over to take that dead ball, not anticipating the play at the plate. So he went further than he anticipated.
Kind of.
And right, look, do we make anticipation mistakes? Yes. This guy made one of the greatest anticipatory calls that I've ever seen in a college baseball game at the ACC tournament 3 years ago when he bailed the first base umpire out for calling a sweep, right? And he was doing something, turned around, didn't see his guy, anticipated something happening, and he went and covered for it and got it right. This guy's phenomenal at that. Here he just made a mistake. It happens to all of us, right? It happens to all of us. We're not criticizing him. We're saying, hey, if this is why that play, he got that play wrong, right? The reason he got that play wrong is because his angle was bad. That's all we're saying. He'll tell you that. I know he'll tell me that because I've talked to him about this, right? He'll tell me, oh, man, that angle was awful, wasn't it? Okay?
Ready?
Yeah. So now we have another play. Boom. Right? So, proper position is defined by angle and distance. Angle is primary to distance.
Huh?
Anybody got a problem with this dude's
I think
distance?
it's Tumpy.
That guy's 2 feet from that play, isn't he?
Yeah.
He might even be less than 2 feet, right? He might be less than 2 feet from that play.
Look it up.
Right? He is right, literally on top of this play. And his credibility is sky high. You're looking at that play going, holy crap, that dude's right on top of that play. But angle's primary to distance, what can we see again?
Now, if that tag was right there, he is perfect, right? Because he's looking right into it.
And again, think about what he anticipated. Where should that tag have taken place? Right there, right? Now, to be honest, let's back it up to where you said where it should take place.
Yep.
So let's think a little bit more. Right, stop right there. Right there.
Yep.
If he's a step to his right in foul territory, he's a step to his right in foul territory, he's going to have a better shot of looking through that than being on the foul line. So one step to his right is going to give him a better angle, even on where you would anticipate it being. One step to his right because he can look down through it this way. Okay? Everybody, that makes sense? I mean, we're not going to get this play. You might get this play in a high school playoff game when we're working 4-man. No, you get it in a 2-man game. Play it third, you're the plate guy, and you just rotate it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, 180.
Yeah, but in two, we want you in fair territory. No, in a 2-man.
Yeah, it's
In a 2-man, you're in fair territory.
It's the 180.
What's the 180 degrees from where he's at? The other side. In fair territory, 6 feet away in the cutout. What does he see if he's 180 degrees from a step to the right of where he at? He sees everything. So what's happened is this play has changed, right? This play has changed. So now the proper angle, he's not in the proper angle, right? Position
Distance is great, right? Distance is great, angle not so great, right? Distance is great, angle not so great. Okay? Distance is great, angle not so great. Okay? And so he now has the same problem that the last guy did, right? What's the problem? There's a player between him and the tag, right? There's a player between him and the tag. Okay? 5 years ago, guess what? He's out, right? He's easy out, right? Ball beat him, tag went down, tag came up, he's out. What are you complaining about? Ball beat you, go away, right? Weaver.
Because he cannot adjust from where he is right now.
Stands up, you need to adjust.
All right, so Andy makes a point. I think Andy makes a point, which is a good one. And it's one of the ones that I kind of harp on at camps and stuff. We all do it because it looks cool. And you guys, some of you have heard me say this before when asked, I say, put your feet under you. Put your feet under you. Lots of guys like to take plays in two-man in the middle of the field and stuff like this. Right? There's only 2 athletes in the entire world that work like this, wide receivers and sprinters. Why? Because they're the only guys that know what direction they're going in right now. Everybody else gets athletic and puts their feet under them, gets their weight over them. He's in a position right now where, Hank, I don't disagree with you. I think he can adjust, but boy, howdy, wouldn't it be easier to adjust this way? Because now what does he got to do? He's got to bring his feet up under him and then adjust. So he actually has to make 2 steps to adjust instead of 1, right? He has to make 2 steps instead of 1. Does that make sense? Okay, so Andy raised a really good point. By having a position where you're like this, and we all do it, I do it, we all do it, right? We'd be better off if we would hunker down here, wait, and then step in like that to see it as you lock down, okay? So that's an issue given that he's already trying to get in there, but he's trying to have his head stable to see the play. Okay? And that's this guy's been around for a long time. He's a really good umpire, been around for a long time, and those guys back in the day, we learned, right? Andy, our head had to be not moving because we had that camera metaphor. Well, the camera metaphor doesn't matter when everything you're looking at is right here, right? If you take a picture with a moving camera and you're taking a dot moving across the page, guess what? The dot will be clear as heck, won't it? The background will be fuzzy, right? But the dot will be clear, won't it? What do we care about, the dot or the background? Dot. If we're in a force play and we're moving our head, we need to see 2 things at the same time. What are we going to get? One or the other of them is going to be blurry, isn't it? That's why we need to have our head still on a force play, and it doesn't matter on a tag play because we need to see in the one tiny spot, and the camera moving is not going to change what I see. In fact, it's going to help me see that. Because if my head's still and I got to see a dot, it's going to be blurry, isn't it? Yes? Does it move this way, right? So we have to keep track of that.
From the 2-man crew, if I'm into a cutout, will I just close in from the cutout? You close it from that way?
You can.
Would be the best thing to do.
Depends on whether you got time, depends on whether you anticipate that ball getting away, depends on whether you anticipate going to the plate, depends, right? The weasel answer is it depends, but the best answer is it depends. How close can you get to a play?
Only so close.
Only so close as you can get to your next play, right? That's how close you can get to a play. Do you anticipate another play? If you do, you better not get all the way up in there because then you got to race this guy home, right? If you don't, then stick your nose right in there, right? Stick your nose right in there. It isn't going to matter. Right? That's the beauty why you see in 4-man games and 3-man games, umpires can typically get closer to plays is because that's the only play they got to worry about. There's no further play to happen. So if I'm the third base umpire right here, this is the only thing that can happen to me. I have no other plays that are not going to happen right here now that this is developed. So in a 3 or 4-man game, this is it. I don't have to. How close can I get? Only so far as my next play would allow. Where's my next play? Oh, I ain't got one. So guess what? If I could get Walls's drone, I'd get to climb in it, hook up, and like look right down on top of it. It would be an awesome look, wouldn't it? That'd be the best place to be. It's like we could get like a little jetpack and like float right above the base. That'd be the best look, wouldn't it? Almost every time. Okay? But we can't do that. And again, if I didn't have another play, I could do that. So again, what do we see in both of these plays? In both of these plays, we see that the umpire gave up angle for distance. Right? He gave up angle for distance as the play developed. That wasn't his intention, right? Neither one of those guys intended to do that. But the point of the video is this is why angle is more important than distance. That guy is right on top of that play, right? Really, really credible. But his angle turned out to be not so good, so what happened? Bad position. Bad position led to
Replay,
bad
yeah.
outcome.
Replay.
Led to replay, right? All right, let's put up the question.
Yes. ODUA, right? Nah, yeah. Yeah, that should eliminate something. Does anybody need us to read it? Sounds good to me.
Internal 50-minute clock, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
My classes are 50 minutes long. Yeah, 50 minutes, man. Those are the rules. Those are the rules.
Everybody good? Got that?
Well, with him.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 10. So if you got it, go ahead. If you don't, we're going to take 10. Right? Our rules are 50 minutes. We're not talking anymore. We're at 50 minutes.
Go eat, go grab coffee, something.
Grab coffee, go see the vendor now that we know about our uniform choices. Could you go through that again one more time? Back on what Greg just said to kind of confirm it too is I transferred a couple times and the same thing happened to me. And you know, our reputation depends on us putting the best umpires on the field. If you can work, you're going to work, right? If you can work, you'll umpire. We're not going to make you, if you're a transfer, work your way up through JV stuff, et cetera. But there are some things that we have, especially a culture here and a culture of the way we umpire and learn. You got to get a little bit acculturated to what we do, right? We may do something different than the association you were in Idaho, and you should probably know about that because we don't want you to come in here and then umpire like you're in Idaho and they're going, what the heck is this guy doing, right? All the teams and stuff, and you're going, dude, we don't do that here. We do this, right? So that's what we're trying to do is get you acculturated. And if you can work, you'll work. And like Greg said also, and you hear this from associations all the time, and I'll say it and you can believe me or not believe me, or you can ask other guys that are here. None of us in UDP have any desire to hold you down to make us look better. Right? We want you to chase us because we all believe that you chasing us makes us better. And we all kind of look up and go ahead, catch me. Go ahead. Let's see if you can catch me. I'm in. Let's run. Ready? Set, go. Let's go. Right? And that's really what we believe. So we care about making you better. That's all we care about. So, and just to piggyback on what Greg said. Okay? So now we've done 3 laws, right? First law is 3 laws. We're on law 4, right? What's the first law? There you go. Anticipate all plays, not the outcome, right?
Heads up.
Okay. Second law was what? Look, once they thought they were getting something, look out there and talk. Oh, sorry, too many people talked. Okay. Proper positioning is defined by what? Angle of distance. Law number 3 is angle is primary over distance. Okay. So now we're going to go to law number 4, which guess what's going to build on? Law number 1, 2, and 3, which says law number 1 says proper positioning is a function of time. Right? That seems like a no-brainer, right? that proper positioning is a function of time. And to take it right out of the manual, let me read you a couple of interesting quotes that might help us understand this, and then we'll go through these plays and talk about it. And then when we're done, I think it'll be lunchtime, right? Hopefully. Okay. We got sandwiches. By the way, we have sub sandwiches coming from Subway, and they should be
Casey,
here.
yes.
The plan is for them to be around noon, right, Casey?
Oliver and I are heading out at 11:15 to pick them up here.
Yes. Awesome. Okay.
Gracias.
So I'm just going to kind of read this to you because it's hard to beat Jim Evans when it comes to things he's talking about umpires. Let me kind of read a couple things and talk to you about a couple things because this kind of seems like you go, okay, why are you telling me this? Of course, right? Because common sense dictates that the more time you have, the better the probability that you can get into the proper position for a potential play. Pretty easy, right? The more time we have, the higher the likelihood you're going to get into a proper position, right? But if you're lollygagging, right? If you're lollygagging and you're not using your time appropriately, what did you just give? What did you just do in terms of you gave up an advantage that you had, right? You gave up some time. So let's go back to the feet under you, feet not under you. You just gave up a step. Now, aside from maybe Silvestri, who's lightning quick, right? There's no way in heck Nickel can afford to give up a step, right? It just can't happen, right?
We'll run outside after.
Okay?
Go.
Okay? Yeah, but we're running in a straight line. We're talking about you processing that you got to move. We got it's a whole package, right? It's a whole package. You know? For you guys that don't know, we love Kyle. He's our like, anytime we want to hit something, we hit him.
Punch
Right?
bag.
We just hit him. And for you guys that don't know, if you haven't met him, Kyle is also a minor league baseball umpire, as is Chris. So we're really proud of those guys. So you can see in our association, we can take you from being like the first to pro ball.
Yeah,
Kyle did pass the test.
we surpassed them. Like they were saying, we're trying to get you guys to our level. We went above their level already.
Nice. Check, please. Wow. Bam, mic drop. Yeah. All right, okay. But here's the kicker, right? And this is one of the kickers, as Evan says here. Unfortunately, when the ball is put into play, the umpire cannot regulate how fast the play develops. We can't regulate how fast the play develops, right? So, given that, right, an umpire increases his chances of getting into the best position possible when he reads all the proper cues and reacts in a timely manner. So if you can read the cues and react in a timely manner, you've gotten back time, haven't you? One of the things as a side note that I say to guys when they start to move up is, does the game, when you umpired that game, did it feel like it was moving too fast for you? I've asked that of Dixon, right? I've asked that, and I think Dixon's response to me was, And I said, okay, so what that means is you're right out on the edge of your ability, which is stressful. If you worked a game where and we've all been there, right? Every one of us has worked a game where you thought, oh my God, I can't keep up. Right? Guess what that tells you? You're probably not a master of the level you're at yet. And so now you're not having the ability to use time in a wise manner. Right? I'll give you an example. I remember we were working up at a scrimmage at UVA 15 years ago, and we were running a clinic, and there was a ball hit to the shortstop. I mean, even 15 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, when that tall kid Pinero played shortstop for UVA. And that kid could go get balls like when the second baseman was standing. And I saw this ground ball hit, and we were working 3-man, and I saw this ground ball hit, and I'm over at first base watching the first base umpire. He thinks it's going to be a base hit. So he goes into pivot because
he wasn't quite familiar with 3-man umpiring yet. He goes into pivot. Pinero gets the ball 10 feet on the other side of first base, spins around and wings it right by the guy like that. Woo! Right in front of his nose, right? While he's running in the middle of the infield, and he turns and he goes, "Say it!" And the dude was out like for meteor, right? And so what happened was the game is just moving too fast, right? So it's kind of a side note, is if you're at a level where the game is feeling comfortable and you feel like, man, I got all the time in the world to anticipate what's going on, you master that level, that probably means, hey, it's time to go up. If you take a dip into that, which is why scrimmages are important, which is why we make college scrimmages available to you. If you get out there and you feel like somebody's chasing you all the time, you might go, I better get better at the level I'm at, right? And that's really important because Chris and Kyle will tell you right now that the level they're at, those dudes fly. Those dudes fly. But you know what? They've been around and have learned enough that they feel like they did when they were working 12-year-olds after a couple of years in the association. Because the game, they understand the game well enough that slows down for them. Right? So that's really important in terms of this idea of you increase your chance of getting in the best position when you read all proper cues. Players will tell you things. Players will tell you things. Right? Think about the play that we had at the plate with the first umpire play at the plate. We had a runner at third base and the infield was in, right? Is that a cue? Is that a cue? So the first thing you ought to be telling yourself when you put a ball in play and you're at the plate umpire, you got a runner at third and the infield's in. If that dude takes off from third, they're coming home. So my best bet is probably stay right where I am, or maybe step forward a little bit. Because if I start moving around, what's going to happen? Similarly, if they got runners on first and third, and the middle infielders are playing back, and there's a ground ball in the infield, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to turn a double play. So am I going to have to anticipate a play at the plate? So if I'm the plate umpire, what do I anticipate? Dead ball overthrow, stuff like that, right? And possibly force play slide interference if they're going to do that. If the corners are playing in, what's going to happen? They're probably going to come home, right? If the ball's hit right at the pitcher, what's going to happen almost every time if that runner breaks? Well, most of the time they're going to come straight home. And there's been a couple plays that we've looked at in the last couple of years where we have bases. In fact, we had runners on first and third. Guy broke with the ball. The first base umpire stepped over to his right to go to third base line extended. There was a play like this. The catcher caught the ball, turned, and there was the umpire right here. You're working at a high level. There's a runner at third. The ball's hit to the pitcher, and the runner's running. Why should this be a surprise that the guy's going to throw home? So you gave up the time that you had by doing something you shouldn't have done, right? Because we said that proper positioning is a function of time. You've just given up the time. Why? Because you didn't pay attention to your cues. You have the play in the middle of the infield, so you got a runner on first and second, and the ball kicks to the shortstop, and you're in a two-man game, and you want to know, we tell you, you can't immediately anticipate the double play. When you see the shortstop field the ball, how do you know which way he's going to go? You can look at his feet because he's going to make movements with his feet and his body that is going to give you a cue about where he's going to throw. If he's fielding this way and he starts to do this, he's not throwing over there. But guys, you read the players. They will tell you what's going on. Pay attention to what the players are doing. You think there's going to be you're rotating on a play going to third, right? And you see the right fielder come up with a big crow hop and get ready to throw the ball. Where do you think he's throwing it? Probably going to third, so what should you probably say? Hey, Hank, I got third, right? Because here comes the ball. If you see him get up, lollipop, and go like this, what's going to happen? I'm probably going home. Why? Because he's just going to throw it. He's giving up third base. How many of you guys actually do that? I hope a lot of you do. If you don't, put it into your game. It's going to give you the ability to have more time, right? Because wouldn't it be really cool if the game worked like we're going to show on the video? Okay, ready? Here's all the runners. Stop. Freeze. Simon says freeze. All right. Where do you want to be? Okay. All right. Okay, good. Go. Is that the way the game gets played? No, it'd be really cool if it was, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be much of a game, though. Right? It wouldn't be much of a game. Okay. Then he says, for example, when the ball is hit hard, it's going to the fence, fielder, or a fence or foul pole more quickly. This means the umpire doesn't have a lot of time. Well, guess what? If you see the ball smoked at the fence and it's going to threaten the fence and your responsibility is to get the fly balls that are in trouble, what do you reckon you ought to do? You probably want to get yourself going, right? And what should you work on first as you go? An angle, right? Not distance, right? So get your angle first, right? Get your angle first, right? Angle is primary to distance. Don't be afraid to get angles on fly balls. This is one thing you don't think about, and we should talk a little about when we say angles primary to distance. I've seen lots of guys get straight lined on diving catches in the outfield when they're the base umpire in the middle of the field because they don't move around. Right? They don't move around. I've seen guys get straight lined as plate umpires with nobody on base to a left fielder diving straight in. Because you know why? Because they believe you have to run out in fair territory at that play. Why would you run out in fair territory? Ideally, if a left fielder's diving, where would you like to be? Perpendicular to him looking across, right? So what's the best route to get there? Run at the fence in foul territory? Why not? Because what do you have to see? Why are you going into fair territory? You just ruined your angle, right? You gain distance, and what do you do to your angle? Most of the time when we make mistakes, or we have bad, most of us, our judgment's pretty good. Most of us, if you put us in the proper, like if we just stop the play, put you in position, the proper position, angle and distance, and let the play happen, you're going to get most of your plays, almost all of your plays right. You're going to get almost all your, some of us aren't going to get them right no matter what. And that's partly because, well, no, because you violated law number one. You anticipated the call and not the, right? You anticipated the outcome. And that's the biggest difference, by the way, for you young guys that are coming in, for the kids who played, right? You can ask, I think Kyle, right? Kyle will tell you too, this Kyle, that when you play, when you start to umpire, one of the biggest differences is you can't anticipate guys being out. Right? And most of the time when people are really mad at umpires is when they anticipated a guy being something and he wasn't. Because, oh man, that was a regular routine play. Boom, he's out. Now the guy beats to throw to first base. And if you think, oh man, regular routine out, and the guy beats to throw to first and you kick it because you anticipate it, that's bad living. Right? That's bad living. We have to pay attention to cues, which includes, hey, is that runner really running like he's being chased, or is he jogging to first base? Those are all cues. Those are all things that can tell us about those plays. Okay? So if we have like high fly balls to the outfield, for example, and you decide you're going to go on it, that's what that gives you. Not more time to get some more distance, right? Get an angle and distance. If you're the plate umpire, and Walls and I worked in a famous game at University of Richmond where we had a play like this, where I actually, as the plate umpire, because we were a two-man back then, weren't we? At U of R, I actually went out of the, I looked at Greg, I go, Greg, I'm going to the outfield. He was working first, we had nobody on base, I think, and he was working first, he was working the bases. I go, I'm going to the outfield. And I just kept going because we had a guy dive at the fence. We ended up getting it wrong, and we lost 4 guys over it. We lost 4 guys, and we got it wrong. It was a way messed up play, right? It's a really difficult play. But that ball was hit long and deep and hard, and if I had gone in foul territory, I might have had a better look at it at the time because I really hadn't thought about it back then. But I had a lot of time to get distance. How many of you get the fly ball in the outfield that's deep and high and you just kind of hang around in a dirt circle and there's nobody on and not get out and get distance? A lot of us do that, right? It's fun, get some distance. Go out there and there's nothing that says you can't go stand out of the grass dirt line on a fly ball to left center field that the center field and left field are going to the wall for. Or go foul territory and get out beyond third base.
Because what's your next possible play? Play at the plate, right? You got all the time in the world to get back for a play at the plate, don't you?
And if you're wondering on that play, we had to play.
Yeah. Yeah, because the ball was rolling around. We couldn't see the ball. The ball was rolling around. Kid got his foot stuck under the fence. It was a mess. It was a mess. And I told him I was doing it, and he just went back to the plate. He said we took all the way to the plate at the plate. Somebody had to do it, and I had to go out. Now, we don't advocate that, but that just works. Sometimes you got to umpire, right? The rules are sometimes you got to umpire. Okay? It was, I learned a lot that day. I think we both learned a lot that day. About how to
Just write a rejection report.
No, it wasn't that. We learned a lot more about those sort of things, right? Okay, there are some plays too. Remember, there are some plays where the time, if you use your time and you read your cues, think about what we said. We like tag plays for you to be closer. If you read your cues and you see a tag play, you might get an extra step or two, right? If you know you're going to look at a fly ball, a long fly ball to the outfield, and the guy's going to dive for the ball, you probably want to be set for that, right? You want that to be set. You want to be not moving. The sooner you anticipate that cue, right, the player, and we all know, I usually like to say, does the player look like he's running under duress? You know the difference between a guy coasting over to catch a fly ball and the guy that's running right under duress. He's hunched over. He's going like this. You see him start to lean. If you see him go like this and start to lean, what's he telling you? He may leave his feet. So guess what you might want to do at that point? You might want to stop, right? You might want to stop. Now think about developing your angle over distance. Well, that guy's going out. What are you trying to see? You're trying to see the ball go into the glove. So you better get someplace where you can see the ball go into the glove. Your angle should be judged based on where the ball is going to, what you anticipate the ball going into the glove. And you have to be stopped. The more time we have, obviously, right? The more time we have, the more distance we can gain. That's all this is saying. But angle first, then use all the time you have to gain distance, but don't react, right? Doug called it what? Pre-pitch planning, right? Pre-pitch planning. Bob Guston used to have a phrase. He said, what?
Generally, usually, normally.
No, he had one that
The piss poor
planning. Piss poor performance can be prevented by, I don't know.
Piss poor planning prevents.
No. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance, right? Something like that. Flat P. The point is, read your cues. Don't give up the ability to gain time. And you can gain time. That's when you know the game is slowed down for you, and you go, oh, I knew exactly where that dude was going to do. I knew exactly where he was going to go. And that allowed me to get a few extra steps. Read your cues. The players will tell you, which is why we want you to read players when you read fly balls, not balls. Read the player. The player will tell you. Players will take you to balls, right? Think about it. Really simple idea is if the ball goes up in the air, we've all done this. You ever been at the plate, the ball gets hit, and you don't know where the heck it went? How many of you do this? I hope not. Guess who wants to catch the ball? Players. So how many of them are there? 9. So guess what you could do? Oh, that guy, right? Let's look for the one chasing it. He knows where it went, right? Just find the dude chasing the ball. Guess what? He'll take you to the ball. Cues, right? Those cues can help you. All right, give us a play.
Mm-hmm. Rolling, 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 kick that ball in, rolling, 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 rolling. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Did time allow him to get into a really good position on this play? Yeah. A little bit different than that ball got scorched at the third base and dived to the line.
Right on the line. He's coming up the line.
Where's the umpire?
What do you think about his proximity and angle right there? Pretty doggone good right there, right? And what happened is time allowed him to gain more distance to that play. We've all had fair fouls where you just hit it and it's like, uh-oh, right? I don't know. And by the way, too, if you don't know and everybody saw the players are kind of standing around doing nothing, probably a foul ball, right? If guys are chasing it down the corner and everybody's running around like, guess what? Probably a fair ball, right? Cues can tell you about things, right? Shortstop, short hops the ball in the infield. We don't know whether he caught it or not. Does he throw it to first base immediately? That's what he just told you. I didn't catch it, right? Now, I'm not telling you they won't fool you. I can show you the classic dude at Arkansas that ball went by him like here. He went down like he got hit. The ball missed him by this much, right? Is he really? Okay. But most players aren't good enough to cheat that fast. They're just not. They're just not. So use your cues, okay? So what do we know here? We had a lot of time, so what should we do? Get a lot of distance. Take your time, right? That's a great way to say it. You've got the time, take it. Don't give it up. Don't not use it. Use it. Right? Too many of us don't use the time that we have. Too many of us don't use the time that we have. I'll give you a similar play. You're at second base. You got to run around, or I'm sorry, you're the base umpire. You're in C position. And there's 2 outs in the inning, and they hit a ground ball to the infield. How many of you don't even get on the other side of the mound? I hope none of you don't do that. How many plays are there going to be? Let's say you have a run on third and there's 2 outs and you're in C position. How many plays are there going to be at this time? Probably one, right? Ground ball in the infield. So guess what you should do? Anticipate cues. Where are they going to throw the ball that's on the ground? First base. So guess what you should do? Start getting as far, as close to first base as you can. If you just go, oh, I can take a couple of steps like this, you just gave up an advantage you had, which was time, which you could have used to expand your distance, which you could have used to enhance your credibility. And if you have a play where you're standing almost, you're standing 18 feet, 20 feet from the play, 20 feet from the play on the opposite angle of what you have for a force play, and you're right there and you call a guy out, you just gained a whole bunch of credibility with them. And the next play that it happens and it's close, you go, you see how hard I'm working for you? You saw where I was on the last play. What makes you think I didn't try to get over there this time? You gain credibility. When you give up time, you lose credibility. When you give up time, you lose credibility. And let's face it, to fight every day, this is one of the things I think these guys will tell you. One of the best things about being a minor league umpire is you don't have to fight for credibility every time you walk on the field. And you guys who work with older guys in the association, you walk out and there's old Lowry yelling at, why is Lowry yelling at me all the time? You didn't yell at him at all. He's kicked 3 calls, he didn't yell at him once. Guess what? I earned a whole bunch of credibility with Lowry. He's going to give me a break. You're the new guy, he ain't giving you a break. Right? You have to earn your credibility every time. That's one of the nice things about being a minor league umpire. You come with credibility. Big league umpires come with credibility. So that's one battle they don't have to fight. But you know why, too? They earn it every day. If these guys don't run across the field on that play, the manager will notice and they'll want their credibility. Sorry, you're done. He's lazy.
Yeah, and the supervisor, yeah.
Right? And, well, and the supervisor, okay? So we have that there. Next play. I don't remember what the next play is.
Good. Surprise, surprise. Oh.
So go back for a minute. Let's think about positioning first. Okay, notice too, by the way, this is something we should all notice, and we teach it this way: step up, turn, face the ball. Is the second base umpire's chest to the ball all the time? That is, right? He turned, when that ball's going by him, he opened this way. A lot of guys would open the other way, and the ball would go behind him. I've seen it. The ball will go behind him. If the ball goes behind you, now you got to find it again, okay? So is everybody happy with this guy's position? Okay. I'm okay with that. He's probably 20, right? The cutout's 13 feet. 12 to 13 feet.
13.
Look in the rule book, right?
13.
13 feet. He's probably twice, he's 26, 28 feet away. He's probably a good distance. His angle is pretty good for what he has to see because he's looking into the glove, okay? And the ball goes into the glove, so he has a good angle there, right? He had plenty of time to get in that position. He used this time to get in that position. And so when we have the ball go in and out of the glove, and then pause it. All right, now, even at their level, it's the same thing. It's changed to be closer to our level. That guy is now out, right? Why is he now out?
Force play.
Why is he now out? The ball came out of the glove and into the dude's hand, right? So we have the ball beat the runner to the base. The fielder was touching the base. We had voluntary release, right? Firm and secure possession, voluntary release. We have the ball. Is that play over for us? No, right? Now the tough thing is in a two-man, right? In a two-man, once that ball gets released, what happens to base umpire's responsibility? Can he see anything that happens after the ball is released?
Jerry, yeah.
If he is, he's giving up on his next play, right? He's giving up on his next play. So if you're in this game and you're the plate umpire, and you're watching this, and I hope you're not running toward third base. Like let's endeavor, all of us, to have a year in which we do not run to third base with a runner on first as soon as the ball is batted. Okay? And all of you that do that, can we all say that I promised that I would try not to run to third base with a runner on first only when the ball is batted immediately? You do not have responsibility at third base for R1 unless the ball gets batted to the outfield. Do not run to third base when the ball stays on the infield. Okay? And here's why. This, one of them, okay? You're giving yourself a crummy angle to take force play slide rule, which is you're going to be the first thing that's going to happen to you. You are responsible for force play slide. Is the base umpire also responsible for force play slide? Can a base umpire call force play slide rule? Yes. Thank you. Good. I'm glad, because 5 years ago, if I asked that question, you know what people would have said? No. You can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Why? Guess who's more credible on that? Base umpire. Why? Proximity, right? The closer you are, the more credible you are. Okay? We want you as plate umpires on this play to come out, run toward B position. Run toward B position. What I want you to do. Once you decide there's no force play slide, then turn right. Then turn right and go pick up your next responsibility, which is dead ball overthrow. Okay? Go to B position. Watch. Don't move until it's come set. See everything that happens. Because remember, don't get off of that play until what's happened. It's over, right? Which is law number 7. Law number 7, right? We'll get to that. When is it over? When all of the players over there have stopped moving or they're so far away we can't have interference anymore, right? When this guy throws the ball, is there still a potential for interference? So we probably want, if we're the plate umpire, we probably want to stay on that, right? Probably want to stay on that. So if he throws the ball, the base guy, right now we definitely have an out. Now high school, this is easy, right? Easy. Force play slide, right? Force play slide. By the way, if you're the high school second base umpire in this play, you don't get this play, I'm not going to be happy with you if I'm the plate guy. Just not going to be happy. Okay? If you're the plate guy and you have this and you see this, you know what you ought to do as you move up the B position is just keep going. Just keep going. So that's interference. They're not going to see you or hear you because the ball's going over there. And by the time they see you and look at you, you better be out with the mouth. If you're out with the mouth, they'll go, whoa, dude, he was right on top of that. Right? That's interference time, right? That dude's out, and that dude over there, boom! He's out.
Now it's going over the bump.
Now he's going to go next to the bump. Your purpose is done. Next to the bump. We ain't going up over the bump yet, okay? All right, go ahead. Yes?
Who should get that first? This one's easy. Right? If you don't see this one coming a mile away, that's why we want you to have distance, because when you look and that dude's running this way, then not this way, what's he telling you? He's chasing that fielder, right? As soon as you see that he's chasing that fielder, look at him, and if he chases the fielder, guess what? He is now in violation of the rule. As soon as he turns right, he has violated the rule, hasn't he? Boom, that's interference. Don't even wait. That's interference. Time. That's interference. He's out. Boom, that dude's out too. Don't leave it on your plate guy. If the plate guy's secondary. If you look at that and you go, oh man, what the heck are you thinking? Right? And I gotta trudge up there and go, who can get it? I'll get it, right? Boom, interference. Then you get it, okay? But give your base guy a chance because he's primary. Tommy.
Hang on, that I do know the answer to, but I think I ask it. So we still see some guys doing it. Do we wait to see the outcomes of the play at first before we make?
No, go ahead.
It's not high school, but we do a lot of youth ball, especially little league ball. Let's call on that.
Same rule, isn't it, Tommy? I don't know high school. There's no level of baseball that doesn't have a forced play slide rule anymore, is there?
No.
That's interference.
No, and every level of baseball now, this dude right here is interference, right?
Yeah.
Think about this. The rule is first, and I know you guys have probably been around for a while, but every year we do the same. Well, until we get it 100% of the time, we're probably going to beat this one up a little bit.
Is this the same way also with the interference?
We could with that.
We could. We will later, I promise. Hang on one second. Remember first, it's a safety rule. Is that middle infielder potentially going to be hurt by that guy doing what he's doing? Is that guy doing what he's supposed to be doing? Is his intention to get to the base? Does that put another player's life, safety, and health in jeopardy? Is that for you firefighters an IDLH environment? Yes. Boom. Stop it. Doug.
Must slide within contact region.
All right, I'm not going to go. No. Cover the rat hole. Cover the rat hole. We'll take care of that later. When you do Babe Ruth, talk to Mr. Yoder. Mr. Yoder will be more than willing to go over Babe Ruth rules with you.
World Series.
This is a high school association. I'm staying there. I would love, trust me, you guys know you see me do an hour and a half on foul ball. Not going there, okay? So let's go to the next play. Let's go to the next play. Not going there.
Yep.
Don't we have another video? Nope.
No.
Next clue. Okay, we got a runner on first, deep fly ball to left center. Left and center fielder and the center fielder are running back toward the wall. The center fielder gets the ball first, catches it, then crashes into the left fielder. The ball pops out of the center fielder's glove. Hits the left fielder. Chris, didn't I say no third wheel? Hits the left fielder on the head. They collide into one another. The ball then drops onto the chest of the center fielder. You wrote this for up-off, didn't you? The ball then drops onto the chest of the center fielder, is laying on the ground. The shortstop comes out and grabs the ball. Holy! Actually, that play, I've seen that play happen.
I had that play happen.
All right, what's next? So we got no catch. R1 can advance when the ball's first touched by an infielder. Catch R1 can advance when the ball's in possession of the shortstop. No catch. R1 can advance when the ball's in possession of the shortstop. Catch. R1 can advance when the ball's first touched by a fielder. Okay. Are the sandwiches here?
Not yet.
All right, then we'll kill 10 minutes while we wait.
Close.
We can kill 10 minutes. That's not a problem. Sure.
Hey, guys, Monday night is obviously the business meeting, so we're going to leave as much out today as possible.
Because it's still in flight.
But by business, I mean we'll continue training. But one thing, maybe two. Is there anybody here right now who know for a fact because of work or something pressing you, you cannot attend Monday night? That's fine. But for those who raised your hand, I know there were a couple. We have
the rule books and stuff here. For those of you coming Monday, we're not handing them out because we're trying to keep it easy. But you can pick them up from Bob. Bob, would you wave your hand?
We've gone through 4 of the 7 laws. You think about the way they're going to build. We want to anticipate plays, not their outcomes. Anticipation is important, right? Because it gives us a head start on where we're going. There is a perfect position for every play, right? Every play has a perfect position. Every play has a perfect position. But there's no perfect position for every play, which is why we're going to define the position as angle and distance. Proper angle, proper distance. Angle distance for tag plays are 5 to 8 feet, closer to 5. Distance for force plays and plays at first base are 20 to 25 feet, closer to 25, because it opens up your visibility, okay? Opens up your visibility. The angle is one on tag plays where you want to see between things, on catch, no catch, in between things, okay? Plays at first base, generally what we like and we advocate is this far off the foul line. This far off the foul line. The reason is most plays that blow up, right? Most plays that blow up, you're better off this far from the foul line than not. Doesn't mean you won't adjust. We'll talk about that later. Doesn't mean you won't adjust. We'll talk about that later. And doesn't mean if the ball's in the box or the hockey stick, I don't want you to go further. Okay? Okay, so proper position is angle and distance. Use angle first, right? Angle is primary. If you can only do one thing, get angle. Okay? And the more time you have, the more distance, the more proximity you should get, the closer you should get to the play. Right? So you use your time. To use your time, read cues. Understand the game, read the game, understand what the game is going to do. Now, I know when you first start working, and the little kids like that, the cues are really difficult to read, right? Because you don't know what the heck is going to happen. Right? You don't know what the heck is going to happen. I get that, which means you don't have as much time, which you're not going to get as close. So you better work on angles, right? We're going to have lunch right now, and we're going to what time are we going to reconvene?
Mirror.
All right, guys, thanks for coming. So we're going to start a little bit early. That way we can finish up a little bit early. We have
3 more.
3 more laws to talk about, and we'll finish those up. We will probably go over quickly high school rules changes. We'll wrap up with some stuff. We'll collect what you think your answers are, and Silvestri will be the final arbiter of what is right and true in your answers, and he will be the decision maker on all prizes awarded. And if you have a problem with him, he is driving a new car, so don't look for that little orange, S-Box he used to drive anymore for slashing tire purposes, all right? So
You'll never know.
So we are now going to do Law 5. All right, so and you get Yoder. Sorry about that. So we've talked about anticipating plays, but not their outcomes, right? And we talked about what? Proper positioning is defined by angle and distance. Number 3 was proper primary to distance. That means angle is more important. The one Tony just did was proper positioning is a function of time. So we're going to build on all of that, and we're going to talk about the positions. There are 3 positions for every play. 3 positions for every play. Starting position. All right, first and second year guys, what's the next one? Play position, adjust position. Think about it. You're the plate guy. What's your first play? Balls and strikes, right? So why do we put you in the slot between the batter and the catcher?
Self-preservation.
Because that's a pretty good place to start, right? What's your adjustment position on balls and strikes? Maybe the batter, maybe your eyes, tracking it all the way in. Okay? That's where you are. You're at first base with nobody on. Where do you start? What we call A, right? Which is about what?
20 to 25-ish feet beyond first base, 30 feet beyond first base, but always what? Who said foul territory? Always what? Behind the first baseman, unless he's so far back that you're way out in the grass, and then we just put you basically equal with him, right? As long as you can see his shoe tops, because you're responsible for what's your first priority as a first base umpire. Still got ball strike if it's a check swing, right? Fair foul. Catch, no catch. So you need to be where you can see catch, no catch, right? So a starting position with nobody on in the first base umpire is what we call A. Ground ball to the infield. What's going to happen?
Is he still here?
Throw the ball to first base, right? We're going to anticipate what's going to happen. So what are we going to do? 20 to 25 feet, a step off the line, like Tony said, about that far. That's a step. That's not 3 feet equals 3 steps. That's 3 feet is 1 step. Get there, you're going to see what happens, right? That's your play position. We've gone from start to play. What happens after that? So let's assume it doesn't go through his legs. That could happen. Okay, I'll go with that. What happens if it goes through his legs? We now adjust to what? A new starting position, because our next play is either going to be at second or back into first. So we just adjust to a new starting position. Okay, we just start it all over again. If it doesn't go through his legs, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to catch the ball and what? Throw the ball to first base. Who's at first base? Never mind, that's a different routine. We're not going to do that. Somebody's going to throw the ball to first base, right? So we've started. We've moved to our play position. We got to throw. What do we want you to do on a throw to first base? React to how it's thrown? Okay. How are we going to react to how it's thrown? Are you going to sit there and watch the ball the whole way from the third baseman to the shortstop to the first baseman? Why don't we want to watch the ball? Where's your play? Okay. We're still going to keep everything pointed towards the ball, right? Or our head at least, because our play is going to be here, right? We're going to watch the ball come, but do we really need to watch the ball? Who's going to catch the ball? First baseman, right? Who's the guy that knows best on the field if that's a good throw? Not you. Okay, not you. The first baseman. Cues. Tony's talked about cues. What's that first baseman going to do if it's a true throw? He's going to step right-footed or left-footed, whatever, towards the ball, right? So you're in your start position. You move to your play position. The ball's thrown. I look at first base. And the first baseman goes, what's that telling me? Good throw, right? So what's going to happen next? I'm going to have a safe route, right? That's my next priority is safe. I'm going to have a safe out at first base. Okay? It's a good throw. See what happens. Make my call based on what I see, right? When do we call him out? As soon as he's out, right? Ball's on the ground. Crap. Okay? We're going to do everything that we've talked about so far. We're going to not call him out until we see the ball. Confirm, secure possession, voluntary release, all kind of good stuff, right? Okay, so this is high school baseball, right? How many times do you get a perfect throw to first base? 60, 70% maybe, ish, 30-ish, depending on where you're working. So if the ball's not a good throw to the first baseman, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? He's going to adjust, right? We've moved from start to play. Ball's released. We're looking at the first baseman, and he goes.
Don't hurt yourself.
And he goes. Instead of going like this to catch the ball, he goes, oh boy, and puts his feet together. What's he telling you he's going to do? He's going to jump, right? He's going to jump up in the air to catch the ball. What's going to happen then? He's going to come back down, right? He's going to come back down, maybe on the base, maybe down on the base. You're looking, you see the runner, you see the guy go, you see the first baseman go up. You make the determination that it's still going to be a race coming back down. Okay, where might we want to move for that? Maybe adjust a little closer, because now I got foot coming down, right? What if he jumps out to the side or towards the plate? What's going to happen then? Probably going to tag him somehow, right? Or try to tag him. What's that going to look like? Usually, normally. Catch it like this, or if it's this way, maybe he's left-handed, back this way. Somehow he's going to have to tag him to get out if he's not on the base, right? That's the way the rules work. Got to tag him. So when he jumps, when he moves, and you see that, you're going to anticipate what's going to happen. You're looking at your clues. Now we're going to have a tag. Where do we want to be on a tag play? 25 feet away, 3 feet off the line? Why not, right? So when he brings his feet together, or when he takes a big step off the base, what can we do? Start position, play position, adjust, right? So where do we want to go? We're going to adjust to what? Angle, primary distance. Proper position is a function of time. So I can only go so far as I have time to get there. And how far can I go to that play? As far as the next play will allow, right? What's my next play? He overthrows it. Obviously, it's a bad throw. So the next place, he's going to second base. So I can't get all the way up in there if I don't have time to get there. And I don't really want to get all the way up in there anyway, because if it goes that way, I got to beat his happy butt to second base. I'm 51 years old, and I'm fat. Okay? I'm not Chris. I'm not all you young guys. So I don't want to get up in there. I want to go to where my next position I can get to. Okay? You're in the middle. We're not at first base anymore. We're in the middle. Runner's on base if we're in the middle, right? What's going to happen? Ball's hit. Might be a fly ball. Might be a ground ball. Might be a base hit. Whatever. Our starting position is where we are, right? B or C. Our play position is going to be wherever puts us in a position to see the play, which is what? At that point. Ball and runner going somewhere, whether it's a tag, whether it's a play at first, or whether it's a force play, right? I'm not going to talk about the mechanics of all that. The point is a start position, a play position, and then we adjust. Going back to the first video that we had, first or second video that we had, that was the play at the plate, right? And we talked about it a little bit. Start position was at the point of the plate. His adjust was to what? He didn't have a whole lot of time. The best adjust he could do and move on play position was at the point of the plate. His best adjustment was just that. Why? Because proper position is a function of time. Angle's more important than distance. All goes together. Your adjustment might be that. It might be this. It's whatever you can get to put you in the best place. So let's go ahead and look at the first video. I love this video. Watch it all the way through. Oh, hello. Hello. He's safe twice. Okay. Stop. Okay. A little bit more. Stop. Okay. So when the ball was hit, he anticipated what was going to happen when he saw the shortstop catch the ball, right?
Middle is the pointer.
Oh boy. Okay. He anticipated when he saw the guy catch the ball, he anticipated the next play is going to be at first place, so he moved to his what? Play position. He saw this guy go, whoa! So what did he do? He starts to adjust. In this case, he starts coming in here. Why? Because it looks like a swipe tag, right? Okay. Keep going.
Can I stop
Sure.
time real quick? This is why we advocate
3 feet off the line? 3 feet off the line, because this guy's probably 6 or 8 feet off the line. This is how most of our plays that are going to blow up are going to blow up on us at first base, how they're going to go bad. If he's closer to the line, he has to make less to adjustment. He's done a great job to make an adjustment. He read this play. He's made a great adjustment. But if you start, see where that foot's about to come down, that foot that's in the air, his left foot is about to come down. If he started there, you know what his adjustment could have been? Close down on the play, get closer to the play, and gain credibility. So he did the right thing here, right? Because what did he do? He got angle over distance, but because he went 3 steps off the line to begin with, he had to come back to the line to make the adjustment. And most of the plays when you adjust at first base for swipe tags are going to be back toward the line. There are times when you would adjust away from the line, but those plays are really, 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 really rare. So that's one of the reasons why, if you guys want to know, why do we put us 1 step off the line and not 90 degrees to the throw? That's the reason why. And this is a really good play to see that. Okay, I know. All right, so he's made his adjust, everything that Tony said. He's made an adjustment for what he thinks is going to be a swipe tag, right? Looks like a swipe tag. Go a little bit farther. What? Go a little bit farther. Uh-oh, hang on, stop.
That's a great adjustment right there.
So, exactly. So what did he see? He saw we didn't have a tag, right? He's adjusted to where he needed to go to see what he thought was going to be a safe tag, a swipe tag. We didn't have a swipe tag. So is that guy safe for out yet? So what does he do? Now he's adjusting again to where his next play is going to be, which is what? Dude's got to come back to first base, or the first base is going to tag the base, right? Keep going, all the way through. Now, he makes that adjustment, gets to a new play position, makes the adjustment again, calls the guy safe for out. That's a great play, with a couple of exceptions that Tony mentioned. Okay? If he'd started a little bit closer, he wouldn't have taken 2 steps to nowhere and ended up right back where he was. But he goes from start to play to adjust, to play to adjust again. That's a great job. That's an absolutely great job. See how fast that happens? Play it in live speed one more time. Maybe. Okay.
I got it.
That happens fast. It might not happen that fast in 13-year-old. Might not happen quite that fast at high school, but that whole thing happens pretty doggone quick.
I'll tell you what, when you watch that and watch this guy work, I just turned over to Leonardo. I don't know who that guy is, but he can work. That guy can work. I mean, you just look at it and go, that dude can work. Look, he made one adjustment, saw it blow up, and made another adjustment to get back to see what he did. And 99.9% of the umpires who work never would have made that, never would have made the second adjustment. 80% probably would have got the first adjustment, 75%, almost nobody would have got the second adjustment. I don't know who he is, but that dude can work.
It's not
Tony.
It's not God. And it's not Tony. I don't know who it is. Doesn't matter who it is. Great job. All right, let's go to the next video. This one's fun. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
that's a rabbit hole.
Let me tell you that. The answer to that is he never gets close, so let's just stop that.
That's a rabbit hole.
All right, so the next play is... Oh, this is fun. There's a bunch here. Okay.
Come on.
This is a base hit, and the batter runner takes a huge round to first base. Maybe. What?
Oh, that's
Like Kevin Smith.
It's always pick on Kyle.
So let me
load it.
just get up to it while he's loading it up. Batter runner rounds first base a long ways, gets caught in a rundown. We have a whole bunch of start, adjust, start, play, adjust, play, adjust, play, adjust, play, adjust.
Buffer, 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 buffer.
7 years ago, our forefathers.
It's coming.
Buffering.
Buffer.
Buffering.
There we go.
Okay. Is it going to actually load and play all the way through?
Yeah. So we're watching the second base umpire.
Don't ask me about how the baseline.
The real question is, did he have the ball in the glove?
Okay, so obviously we had a base hit, right? This is not 2-man, it's 4. So in this case, first base umpire is going to do a little bit different stuff. But what he does, if you want to talk about 4-man, what he does is he moves from his start position, knows it's a base hit, comes to where his next possible play position, which is down by first base. So he's moved to his next play position, and now we have possibly a play back in here. So what does he do? He adjusts to see what may be a tag play back into first base. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we got the rundown. Keep going. Just let it play.
Yeah.
So there's something I want to see here. So we haven't talked about this yet, but we have talked about it, but not today. What do we do when we change responsibilities or when we need to let our partner know what's going on, right? We communicate. Back it up. Watch the first base umpire. Watch him. He's down there. Now, as soon as we have this, stop. Did you see his arm go out like that? What's he telling his partner? I'm going outside. I'm going outside. I'm going to be the outside guy. Where does the second base umpire go? Inside. Oh, he goes inside. He's moving to a play position inside. Because we want to bracket those guys, right? Different topic, but that's why they did that. So now we go back and forth, keep playing it. And we're going to have a bunch of adjustments, and we got a guy that goes out of the baseline, and we're going to get it right, and that's what happens. Okay? So when
That's right.
What? No. So in this case, again, so we started at start position, we moved to play, and we adjust. We just have the opportunity to do this a bunch of times in this play. You got anything you want to add? Because you look like you do.
Because it got asked, and I'll just say it really quickly. Out of the baseline has to do with there's base pass and there's base lines. The base runner is running toward a base. His baseline is a direct line from where he is to where he's going. In the event of a tag attempt, he is allowed to move 3 feet either way of that play. Okay? If there's a tag attempt. If there's a tag attempt. Okay? He's allowed to move 3 feet either way of the position he's in as the tag attempt begins. I think they kicked this. That guy's not out of the baseline. That guy could have been touched easy, but we'll leave that alone. So what we have to make a decision is right now, when that tag attempt, and there really is no tag attempt here, okay? Let's say there was a tag attempt. Did he go 3 feet away? Well, you don't have a yardstick on a baseball field, right? You don't have a yardstick on a baseball field. So normally, usually most of the time, what we do is we ask, could that guy have reached him with a step and a reach? But he got him with a step and a reach from the straight line. So let's imagine the fielder is standing right in the middle of the straight line. Could he have got him to there? Step and a reach. If it's beyond that, then we're going to get him out. Okay. Here, we still don't have a tag attempt yet. So I disagree with this call. And the other one, you have a 3-foot lane that helps you. That first baseman was inside the 3-foot lane, and the runner still had a foot on the 3-foot lane. So when do you decide whether the baseline is when this, and I'll say it again, and I just saw it in the new rule, in the high school thing, that stupid skunk in the outfield thing came up. There's nothing illegal with that. You can run anywhere you want. You could run to the foul pole, along the foul pole to the other foul pole, make a big X, come back and touch first base if you want. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know. But as long as nobody's playing on you, right? As long as nobody's playing on you, you can run any daggone place you want.
right? It doesn't matter. So out of the baseline only pertains when a tag attempt is made. If there's no tag attempt is made, leave it alone. Doesn't matter. And the skunk in the outfield even says in there, it just came up. Somebody asked about it in our training the other night. It's not illegal under any rule code at any time in any place. So if you've ever been told to call the guy out, you are in serious jeopardy of having your judgment, of having a protest and losing your protest, which is about as bad a thing as can happen to an umpire. Kicking the hell out of a game from beginning to end is better than losing a protest. There's nothing worse as an umpire than losing a protest. Guys have lost their jobs over losing protests. Okay? So that just covers the umpire, and then we have it. Everybody good on baseline? Anybody have any questions over the three positions for a play? Three possible positions for every play. Start, play, adjust. Any questions? Anybody want to talk about this play or the play before?
Can I ask you a question about this play?
Sure.
How many people think there was a tag attempt on this play, even though Tony said there wasn't?
It hadn't happened yet.
What other thing would make this not a tag attempt? Anybody pay attention?
Let's go to the question. Let's go to the question.
There you go. Okay.
All right. So here's the question. Everybody read that? Runner on first, one out. And I'm so happy this year that the high school guys have actually got on board with everybody else. And if a runner starts on first base, we're calling him R1. And if a runner starts on third base, we're calling him R3 and not R1, just because he's only one runner. Fly ball bounces in fair territory, jumps over the fence, on the foul side of the foul pole. Throws his glove, don't hit nothing.
What you got?
What you got? Yep. Only got two choices this time. At least
don't screw this one
on
up.
Four. Anybody not read all those? Give you a couple minutes. Think about that. I haven't looked at it yet. Which one is it?
No, that one.
Yeah. Anybody need more time on this one? Okay. 31. Tell you what, we'll leave it up there. Take 5. If you need 5, take 5. Take 5. That means 5, not 10. 5.
Take 5.
You can take 5 where you are. Take 5 out there.
Do your best Dave Brubeck imitation.
If you need a few more minutes, that's fine. If you want to take 5, that's fine.
Here's everybody's favorite umpire.
Get out of here.
No, I'm not.
Get out. No. Go. It's on webinar. You can see it. Seriously. It's recording. I'll post it tonight. Well, you're sick. We don't want everybody sick, sweetheart. I'm telling you. Wall's already sent the vice president home. How do I know that?
Oh my gosh. Do you really want me to leave?
Go in the back corner. Greg, did you not send Al home for flu-like symptoms?
If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms,
Oh, she's on the AI.
Okay, well.
we love you. We want you. We don't want you today.
Just you want a ballot?
Here.
For a ballot.
I meant to respond to his post on Facebook.
Oh, no Facebook talk.
Why did you do this?
Oh, honey,
Keep your pencil.
She's actually on antibiotics, so she's not flu-like. She's strep throat or something, whatever she said.
all right. You've been diagnosed with other things. You're okay.
Googly. Googly. Yo. Hang on. I don't think it's that. I think it just needs to adjust. It's the screen itself. There you go. That'll work.
2 more minutes of your 5. While we're waiting to end the 5, and because we've gone through one section of this thing without me saying something, tomorrow at Monday's meeting, one thing that I really have enjoyed about this group over the course of the last 12, 15 years, whatever it's been, is that all of the social and the camaraderie and that kind of stuff that you guys still participate in. I think probably at least one of any of the older guys here.
Blinded.
Okay, if you haven't got that one, too late. You only got so many minutes on the field anyway. All right, so the next law is building on all those. Okay, so we've gone almost to the end. Okay, almost, not quite. Still got 2 to go. Almost to the end. But we've talked about everything up to making the call. We've talked about everything up to making the call. So now that we've anticipated, now that we've gotten a good angle, now that we've gotten appropriate distance, and we've moved based on a function of time, and we've adjusted, now we're going to make a call. When do you make the call? Oh, there you go, Chris. When do you make the call? When you see everything in your head, when you see everything happen, you make a decision in your head, right? Why are you shaking your head? Well, okay. That includes everything. That's part of everything. Okay? You've seen everything that you need to see to make a call. So you've decided up here. If it's a ball strike, the plate guy, you don't make your decision until it comes all the way through the hitting zone and it's received, right? It's a play at first base, you don't make your decision until what? He's either safe or you see the ball released. It's a tag play. You don't make a call until he's either safe or you see the ball. Okay? So the point of that is the call you're going to make happens in your brain. It's mental. The call is mental. When do we let everybody else know? After you've made your decision, right? You've made the call in your head. Now you're going to communicate what you're doing to everybody else, right? I've seen everything I need to see. I see the catch. I see possession. I see release. He's out. Okay? So the call is mental. The signal's physical. Think about a double play. What do we want you to do on a double play? You're the base guy. You see as much of that play as you can until the throw's released, right? So whatever happens, safe, out, interference, whatever, you see everything there. You got the ball getting there first. You got the fielder there. He touches the base. He gets ready to throw. You take your attention from there now to first base because that's your next play. When do you call the guy out? Oh, when do you call the guy out? Now, when do you signal when you call the guy out? When you see everything, right? Once you've seen everything you can see, you've decided in your brain that he's out. Okay? Do I need to go, okay, he's out. Boom. And now I'm going to turn around, right? Heck no. because you're not gonna see anything over there. Okay? You're gonna decide, you're gonna see everything, you're gonna make your decision. He's out. Okay, now I'm going over here. That guy's out. That guy's out. I'm telling everybody over there that he's out. Do I need to look at that to make the mechanic? No. He's out. Now I'm already seeing this over here. I'm gonna see everything there, I'm gonna make my decision, and then I'm gonna call the guy safe. Make sense? Call is mental, the signal's physical, no matter what it is.
Process.
Right, two-part process. So let's go to the first video. I forget which one this is, but.
Oh,
This is awesome.
my favorite.
Whoa. Y'all see that? Okay, so what happens when that ball first comes in and it's way up here? What are you thinking? If you're not going to lie about it, you're going to think the same thing I'm thinking. Duck. It's a ball. It's over the dude's head. I've anticipated that that's going to be a ball. Whoops. Whoops. He swung. Oh, crap. Not only did he swing, oh, crap. He hit his glove, right? So now, the guy on the plate has seen everything, and he's come out, gathered all the information, made the decision in his head, and now come out and told everybody, no, time, we got interference. Catcher's interference. We're going to put that guy on first base. Now we're going to go into the whole replay and all kind of neat crap. But what's happened is he saw everything start to finish. He was in his start position, he adjusted. Made it to the play position, he adjusted. He saw everything, he saw it all happen. He made his decision, and then he came out to let everybody know.
Watch his head. Looking. He sees something happen. He's like, oh, wait a minute. Do you see the catcher look back at the umpire and goes, oh, crap, I did something. Catcher gave it away, too.
Okay, so we're going to go through all that. But the point of all that is he saw everything. He made his decision in his head before he came out and stopped the play. If he was too fast, what would he might have done? Come out and call foul ball, right? Or if he was really fast, what might he have done? Oh, crap. No, foul. Oh, wait, no, I'm not sure. How many have done that? I have.
One of the things I think is important that you understand is you gather information by more than one way. There's a lot of things on this play that can tell you information without you seeing it. So if the catcher comes up and blocks you from seeing it, what information we can get from what we hear can tell us a whole lot of things. And this guy does a real good job of gathering all this information. The police officer at the wreck who gets both people's information and everything he can before he decides to write a ticket, before we decide to do something. And I had to learn that. Mr. Wall got on me about secondary information in a game where a ball went off a foot or not. I didn't think it went off a foot because I didn't see it. But everything about the play, from people watching the plays, the ball went off his foot. The player doesn't run the first. He's hopping around on his foot. I mean, there's other information we can get from what we see or don't.
Unless he's from Arkansas, he's probably.
To kind of add to this is why we've kind of made in training for the new guys, if somebody says the word timing, we kind of shush him. And we say, stop doing that. Don't use that word. Because one of the things that I've heard, and I've admonished a couple guys for this, is when we're in cage work, here, what I want to do is close your eyes. Okay, wait till you hear the glove and then look at it. You want to tell me how closing my eyes would help me get that play right? Anybody? What does timing have to do with closing your eyes? What does timing have to do with waiting? You're taking a thing that is a consequence of doing something properly, and then you're making the consequence the thing you're trying to mimic. Right? What he did, watch this guy. This is phenomenal. This is really phenomenal to watch this guy, right? Because he stays in his position,
His head moves up. He knows something's gone wrong. His head moves up to see what's going on. He is looking around, and the reason that there's time elapse is because he's using his eyes properly and his ears and the rest of it. So if you close your eyes on a pitch because you think that'll help your timing, you want to explain to me how it's going to help you get that one right. Which is why we don't want to use the word timing. We want to use the proper use of eyes. This is a phenomenal thing, and as Chris said when he was watching it, watch his head from the view behind him. Does anybody not believe that he's looking around at this play to use his eyes to gather the information, right? The first part of the two-part thing, which, by the way, happens on every single play and every single pitch. Every single play, every single pitch is a two-part process. A mental process and a physical process. If the physical precedes the mental, you're messing up. You're going to make a mistake, right? Again, think about it. Every one of these laws, if you violated it, what happened to you? You get in trouble. Hey, watch this guy. This is phenomenal. Look at his head moves 3 times so he can see what's going on. Then and only then, after he's got it all processed, he stands up and then goes, whoa, we got a problem. He knows in his mind 100% that he has got interference now, and now he tells everybody else what he had. The only reason for making signals is so that everybody else around the game knows what's in your head. And if it's not in your head and you're making a signal, you're going to be in big trouble. That's why it's a two-part process. This is phenomenal right here. This is phenomenal. When you think of timing and somebody tells you, close your eyes or count to 8 or whatever, just chuckle at them and know that that's not what timing is. That's timing. That right there is a beautiful example of timing. Phenomenal. That's why these good young umpires coming out of minor league baseball are phenomenal, because they do a really good job of this stuff. Properly using it. Any questions on that one, on that video? Except for Kyle. All right, next video. Next one.
It's familiar.
We saw this play already.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that play already. We know what he's done right and done wrong with all the other laws, right? Start position, play, adjust, anticipating the play, everything that we've already talked about. He's done all that, right? Now he sees that tag. So what does he know right there? He's out if everything else completes, right? So watch this guy's head. He doesn't know he's out. He knows he's potentially out. Yes, correct. He knows he's potentially out. He knows he's been tagged. What's he looking at? He's looking at the tag. Let it play through. Oh, where does his eyes immediately go? On the ball. To the ball. To the ball. Because you can't have an out without what? Firm and secure possession.
Eyes up.
Voluntary release. Hey, I got the ball. Here you go. All right, now you got out.
What's he looking at?
The whole time.
Bam!
The ball's in the glove. He's looking at the ball the whole time. There is no one umpire that works at that level and moving his eyes from what he has to see to the ball than this guy. You watch him, every base he works at, whether it's a force play, whatever, you will see his head move. This guy is phenomenal at that stuff. And he's a phenomenal instructor, too. Yeah, he is. Phenomenal instructor. He can take the most complex stuff, this is off the top, and make it so simple. Make it so simple.
To be determined.
That umpire. Ask me later.
96.
96.
Look him up.
96 MLB. Go look it up. Okay? Every rule that we've talked about to this point, he's made the call now in his mind. He's told everybody what's going on. Oh, yeah, I know you got some bad. No? All right. Any questions?
Yeah, I can add.
Well, we don't need you to add. I'm just asking.
I'm gonna add
Just asking if you do. This is
I think this is more important than a lot of people want to make it out to be, and we did a couple of things on it. But you could anticipate the play. You could have a proper position. You could get your angle before your distance. You could use your time. You could make all the adjustment in the world. Imagine that guy that made those double adjustments. As soon as he saw the glove touch him, he was going like this, and the ball came out. You take all of that good work, and what did you do? You just went like this, right? And you just kicked it. You just kicked it down in the sewer. Why? Because you didn't do the most basic thing. I don't think we can emphasize enough. And people argue with me. Kyle used to argue with me about this all the time when I would do training with him, because he would do a play. Because he actually today he said it. At first base, he would look at a play at first base, and boom, the play at first base would happen. He'd go out. I go, why aren't you looking at the ball? I am. How do I know you're looking at the ball? Your head hasn't moved. Because I did it with my eyes. I said, the heck you did. He still swears to this day he did it with his eyes. But you know what he does now? You know what he does now? He goes like this, and he picks his head up and looks. If you're not picking your head up on force plays and looking at the ball, if you don't see a ball and you call a guy out, you're skating on thin ice. You're out on a tightrope over the Grand Canyon, and you're just waiting to die. Right? If you ever call a guy out before you see the baseball, before you physically see the baseball, you're asking for trouble. Timing has nothing to do with time. Timing is the consequence of using your eyes properly. Right? Timing is the consequence of using your eyes properly. It is not what you're aiming for. Timing is not your goal. Timing will exist if you've done it right. The same thing on the plate, right? All you guys that have been in cage work in the last couple of days, most of us can tell from 50 feet away without looking whether or not you're using your eyes properly. And you'll say, no, I'm tracking the ball. Then we show a video and you look and your eyes are like this. So I guess I'm not tracking. Yeah, I know, because I know the outcome of good timing. I know what the outcome of good timing looks like. You can't hide bad timing. People will say, well, I have good timing on strikes. It's just on balls I have bad timing. Really? Seriously? So you use your eyes right when the pitch is a strike, but not when the pitch is a ball. How did you know before it left the pitcher's hand which one it was going to be? This is the most important thing that we do to get plays right. You could be in a bad position, anticipate incorrectly, all of that, and still get lucky enough to get the play right and botch it because you didn't use your time. It works on the plate. It works on the bases. It works everywhere. Catch, no catch, obstruction, interference, go down the list. It works everywhere. Proper use of eyes. Take the word timing out of your vocabulary and get rid of it. Proper use of eyes. You want to use your eyes properly. Your eyes are the way that you get information into the processor that allows you to start with the two-part process. The mental process, the physical process. If you don't have the mental process right, it doesn't matter what you call. You're going to be wrong, right? And they come in two parts. There's a separation. Right here, this guy, it's separation. Bang, I got all the information. Now I'm going to tell everybody in the yard what I got. Boom! That's what I got. So think about this, too. It's really kind of fun. He's holding 50,000 people in the palm of his hand because they want to know what he just decided. And he stands up and goes, and the place will get quiet, too. And then, bam! And then, whoa, right? It's cool as heck. You're holding 50,000 people like this. Slow down, right? Think, watch. Use your eyes properly.
If he does everything perfectly through the first 5 laws and does what that first video did, oh boy. Not only on the video, but you know, it's ugly. It's really easy to stand, well, kind of easy to stand up here and talk about this. It's kind of easy to try to teach it. And Tony's a big advocate of he who teaches learns. And there's nobody here that's a bigger example of that than all these guys that stand up here and do this. Because I can tell you, I have learned so much in the last 3 or 4 years doing this. I thought I knew all kinds of stuff, and Greg would be the first one to say that I didn't know crap. But that's beside the point.
The second one.
It's easy to stand up here. It's easy to talk about it. It's easy to see it on video. It's hard to put it all together and do it. Last year, after teaching for 3 or whatever, how many years I've been doing this, last year in a conference tournament, I did exactly not what this guy did. Did exactly what the first guy did. Right, Mike? Unfortunately. Great play at second base. Bam! He is out.
Damn.
Except I was the only one in the ballpark that didn't know the ball was on the ground. True story. I got the video. It's hard to do. It's easy to talk about. Any questions? Yeah, it was ugly, wasn't it? I mean, and dude, I'm telling you what, walking off that field, talking about it afterwards, Al's gone. Al was a plate guy.
4 beers, you still had him.
Al was a plate guy, Mike was at first base. I was 100% sure that I got that on the release. Except, you know what? I didn't tell anybody I had it on the release either. I just called him out. Because I didn't use my eyes properly. I didn't watch it all the way through. I did most of those laws. I won't say all of them. I did most of those laws pretty much okay until I didn't see the last
And
one.
in Mark's defense, the guy should have been out by 6 feet.
But he wasn't.
It turned into a closer play than it should have been. But the ball was there.
I anticipated the heck out of that play.
That segues right into rule law 7.
I anticipated the heck out of that play. I was in a pretty doggone good position. I'd love to show the video. I'd have to pull it up. But I didn't do the last one. I whacked them out before I saw everything happen. And that takes us, say again? Of me? You know what? Here's the answer to that, buddy, is if you screw up enough times, you get a lot of video. You get a lot of video. Okay, so that takes us right into number...
Well, it will 7, but we already did the question first.
7. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
But it will take us into 7.
Oh, what's this one?
One out.
Okay. Ball down the line, along the fence. Left fielders hauling stuff over there. Sorry. Catches the ball, flips over the fence. What do we got?
We need a sensor.
That's pretty good. I mean, if that's the only word I've said. If Tony hasn't said any, we are doing phenomenal.
I gotta pee first.
Leave that up there for a few minutes. Take 5 in place again, or if you need to go potty, because like Kyle, he's got a tiny little bladder.
This is the one on the.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. Whatever. Take a few minutes. We got a couple. We got 3 or 4 different outcomes there. If anybody wants to see that video, I'll pull it up. Next break, you can look at it.
Afterwards.
You know, that's a great point. Since y'all are looking at that, I'll talk about that for half a second. You got to have a short-term memory. You got to have the ability to flush what's going on. And I used to suck at that, okay? Hang on a second. I used to suck at that. And I'm not saying that I don't now, but I used to suck at it bad. Look, we all miss a call. We all miss a call sometimes. Don't miss 3 of them because you missed 1. Let it go. Move on to the next one. You miss a pitch. That's why fundamentals are important. That's what Tony talks about, fundamentals. Know the laws. Know your priorities. Move on to the next play.
So
Here we go. Attention on deck. Law number 7. Famous, the one, the only. Minor league umpire. Kyle Nixon. Woo!
All right. So law 7 is no play is considered routine
till it was over. Meaning, no play is over until the first 7 laws have been completed. Did I say 7? 6. First 6 laws have been completed. You got to remember that fans, players, managers, coaches, they see the game in a completely different aspect than we do. And we got to make sure we don't do that, or it's going to be disastrous for us. So we got to keep an open mind and remember that there's not just a finite set of rules for an infinite amount of situations. There's also a finite set of plays that can happen in an infinite amount of situations. So there's multitude of situations. For example, plays at first base. You can have normal routine, caught, he's out. You can have him catch, come off. You can have him catch, bobble. You can have a collision. Multitude of elements. Actually, yeah. Is that too big for you?
Bam, multitude.
That's a big word.
This is a huge advance for Kyle. We talking about it.
And I was sitting here today and I was thinking about my presentation. I wrote this down and I showed Tony about an hour ago.
Took you that long to write?
1 and 7 relate to each other. 7 wraps everything up. So what was law number 1? Right. What's law number 7? I just said it. Okay. So thanking a player's routine will make it harder to determine its outcome. Does that make sense? Thanking a player's routine will make it harder to determine its outcome. So you're in A. You come out two steps off the line for your play at first. No, it's just a ground ball to the shortstop. It's going to be easy. So you're thinking a play is going to be routine. Then something happens. It's going to be harder for you to decide whether he's safe or out because you haven't done any of the laws. You thought it was going to be routine. So just remember, it's not routine until it's over. And then the flip side of that, predetermining an outcome will make you think a play is routine. Predetermining an outcome will make you think a play is routine. So same thing, they coincide with one another. Here's another big word, coincide. So some of y'all tell me, what are some elements that finalize a play? Can anybody tell me any? One we talk about all the time. Involuntary release. Some others I just mentioned. Any? Okay, so would you say maybe the defense's reaction after a play? Was that you, Kevin? Yeah. Defense's reaction to a play, offense's reaction to a play. You know, use all these. It's very, very important.
I'll tell you, this year, I was in Princeton. Not a war story, just a simple one. Okay, Greg? Not a war story. Taking place at first base. I'm here. I had the runner beating the ball, right? I look up, like Tony tells us to, look up, find the ball, and for whatever reason, the runner decided to peel off toward the dugout. First baseman threw it around. I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, he beat that, but everyone else is telling me he was out. So I read my secondary cues. Does it sound familiar, secondary? I got up and just said, okay, he's out.
Sometimes you'll be able to do that.
The play is not over. It's not routine
until it's over.
Until it's over.
Another example would be a catcher has a ball, but he misses a tag. We didn't have an example video of that. But the first video we had today, we're going to watch it again, and we can go ahead and pull it up now. But that is, and I'll talk to you. What did this umpire do? What did he not do? What laws did he not process? Speak up. Didn't find the ball. Not proper use of eyes, right? What else? Right? What else?
Made a decision before he had all the information.
Okay, what else? We already said that. Timing.
Proper use of eyes.
Well, then we should take out law.
He had a good angle, right?
Yeah.
He had a good angle. He could see the tag, but he assumed that the catcher would still have it. We don't assume that it's routine until it's over. So we have to see secure and firm possession with voluntary release.
Go ahead and play the other one.
Please. No? There we are.
So he called what he saw, and then he was processing in his mind, oh, wait, I had obstruction. And then he went, no, you, second base. So he realized this play's not routine. I have a decision I have to make. I saw obstruction. I awarded it. So it wasn't over.
So what are the possible plays on this rundown?
Play the other angle.
Possible plays. Safe or out. Obstruction interference. Tags. White tag. Baseline. Anything else? Tony, anything else?
So real quick, there's the obstruction.
Fair foul, no catch, no catch. We got safe foul, obstruction, interference, touching bases.
So we have those four things to think about.
Anytime you have a rundown, if you don't immediately start thinking that and anticipating those four things, you put yourself in a position that it's going to be tough to get the non-routine rundown right. Because every rundown, as soon as I see a rundown, the first thing I remind myself is look for obstruction interference. Make sure you pay attention to obstruction interference. Right? Baseline, I don't worry. I probably should put in my mind sooner. Usually I don't try to process that until I see a runner moving a long distance and then a tag. But one of the very first things, because the tag safe out is easy to put in our head, right? Because that's what we're after, safe out. But we really, really, really need, as soon as you have a rundown, you should immediately put in your head, I have to be aware of obstruction interference. And that's something that has to go in your head. Because how many of us have ever been surprised by an obstruction interference call in the middle of a rundown? And the reason you're surprised by it is because you never even put the thought in your head, right? So let's go back to piss poor planning leads to precarious presumption, something, right? But stop whatever. So the point is pre-pitch planning is the same thing. You have a rundown. Now your play is starting. So your starting position, you have to anticipate all of those things that can happen and move down your list. As soon as you begin, like the play at the plate, if I have a runner at third base and there's a ground ball in the infield, what should I expect? Play to come home, right? If I have a rundown, what should I expect? Obstruction interference. Why? Because there's a whole lot of people running around in one place, right? And some of them have the right to run there and some of them don't. So you need to pay attention to which ones have the right to run where they are and which ones don't. And that's why you need to think obstruction interference immediately. Obstruction interference. I got to worry about obstruction interference. Most rundowns, 99 out of 100 rundowns, not going to happen, right? You're going to have a couple throws, boom, tag a guy out, and it's going to be over. When you get a rundown here, how many players are involved in this rundown by the time it's done? It's like 4, isn't it? That's a lot of guys. There's 5 players between 2 bases. That's a lot of traffic. There are rules about who can do what in that rundown, and you need to pay attention to it. And the tough thing is the runner can violate a rule. The fielder with the ball is going to be really hard for him to violate a rule. All of the guys without the balls can violate rules, right? But almost everybody in that mess can violate a rule. And so you need to pay attention to that entire mess. Okay? We need to pay attention to that entire mess. And it's not routine, right? And that's a really good point that Kyle makes in this is there's no way in heck this play is routine. Most of us go into rundowns, figuring out rundowns.
I don't necessarily even like the word routine. The sport itself's not routine. Nothing about it is. So that's why we're out there. That's why we have a job to do. And, you know, if you can master all 7 of these laws, you'll be a pretty good umpire. Because this is one of the hardest jobs in the world, in my opinion. But
So we have for example, a ground ball to shortstop. We take our step off the line, certain distance away from it. What are potential plays or potential situations that could make it unroutine?
And I already mentioned some.
Bad throw. So what does that do to the first baseman? Pulls them up, pulls them out, pulls them off, whatever, right? So we thought it was routine at first. Then we had another element come in to tell us, okay, now it's not routine anymore. So we had a start position. We had a play position. Now we see that it's not routine. We have to adjust.
Take that and go back to, Chris makes a great point, go back to position is a function of time. If you lollygag into your angle at first base, and you're going to take a play at first base, arriving where you want to be as the ball gets there and go like this, now the play's not routine. Now what? You're still wandering into a play that's not routine, so now you haven't read any of your cues to tell you that it's not routine. You haven't made any adjustment at all, and now the play blows up on you. If the point is, and I think Kyle's got a great point, we should change this, it's not routine until it's over to it's not routine, period. Right? Leave the rest of it out. It's not routine. Don't treat any play like it's routine. Because, again, and Kyle said it, she said a second ago, they don't pay us for the routine plays. Exactly. Nobody pays us for the routine plays. And let's be honest, even as stressful as this is, in a game of the 54 outs in a 9-inning game or the whatever it is in a 7-inning game, 42, Yoder, 42 outs in a 7-inning game, how many of them really need us to be there? 40 of them? I'll bet you it's less than 10 every day and less than 5 most days, right? Couple of strike threes, striking a guy out. If there's a guy throwing a lot of strikes, you got a lot of called strike threes. That don't happen very often. Every once in a while there'll be a play in the infield, maybe a diving catch or no catch. But pay attention. Think about it sometime. Of the 42 outs you get in a 7-inning game, I'm willing to bet you 5 of them at most days, where there was a doubt about it. 37 of them, they didn't need us, right? 37 of them. Throw in a couple of safes and I'll get you to 5, okay? Throw in a couple of safes on a play, I'll get you to 5. If you can't get those 5 right because you're not doing these things right, it's going to be a long day. You know, you can't go, you know, it's a joke we make sometimes, right, with each other. I'll be at first base, the ball will go bounce off the fence, foul, and I'll go, that's one for me. I got that one right, right? I know some coaches where I look, I go, hey, Justin, I just got that one right. He goes, well, I go, that ball's foul, like 35 feet, I got that one right. You guys never give me credit for the ones I get right. That's just not fair. And they laugh. I go, no, I'm serious. Let's put that in I got that right category. So when you yell at me, right? Or our buddy from Charlottesville, Tom Stalling, says, those foul balls, they bounce off the fence in the back. I generally get that right. But nobody gives us credit for that. You're only seriously going to be involved in 5 plays a game. You have to treat every play that's about to happen as if it were one of those 5 plays. When you don't, you get the poor guy that in the first video that the ball is laying on the ground, because let's be honest, he's working AA baseball. Is this AA? Mm-hmm. This is a AA game. Most of the guys in AA, their next stop is that they're going to make a next stop. It's going to be the big leagues, right? These guys are phenomenal baseball players, right? These are incredible athletes. He's got a ball that beats the runner by like 10 feet to the plate. What should happen? This guy should be out. The catcher didn't even catch the daggum ball. I don't think the ball was ever in his glove, right? And what happened was, yeah, he went to the right place. He kind of put himself in a little bit of a bad position by going too far up the line, but okay. But he still sees the tag, but he treated it like it was routine. This is his big opportunity because he hadn't had a play to play it all week. The supervisor in the stands, and I'm gonna go, but bam, I'm gonna whack this dude. Oh no, right? Oh no, because he treated it like it was routine. We've all done it. If you haven't done it, you're lying, or you haven't umpired. You haven't been on the field yet, one or two, right? But try not to treat any play like it's routine. Try not to treat any play like it's routine because they're not routine until they're over. So we have a play like this, right? Unfortunately, these guys tell me too, that call didn't even get changed. I think Greg and Greg back there would tell you if this happens in your two-man game and you're the base guy and you see the ball rolling on the ground after a guy gets tagged out and you see this, I know what UDP would say, and I think they'd agree. You need to fix this, okay? Because we can't have 200 people in the stands, 50 players and coaches, one umpire, all know the ball's on the ground, and one guy going, there ain't no way the ball's on the ground, right? Go and fix that, right? This is not a hard one to fix, okay? Which is another reason why, by the way, if you're the base umpire, what should you be doing?
Right.
Eyes on the ball.
I'll give you the story because we know this umpire personally. I'll give you the story about this play. It's three man. When they got together, apparently the minor league code is you never change the call against the crew chief's call, and the plate guy is the crew chief in this group.
And he was they were traveling to their next city. This umpire got called by the league president, said, read your report, saw the video, you messed up bad, but you're going to AAA.
Got promoted the next day.
It is, yeah. But you're going to AAA.
Hey, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Slogan for the year. One of the five. Based on all that.
All right, one of the five. All right, I like that. I like that, Radar. One of the five. It's going to be, the next one's going to be one of the five.
Hey, Tony.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm the plate umpire, let's try to nip a couple things in the bud right now. If I'm the plate umpire and I make that call, and Tony's the base umpire, the coach is, I tell you what, Tommy, don't get crazy, just be a coach. Now here he comes, because he knows, along with everybody else in the world, that the ball's on the ground. And now he's coming out to talk to me, and I know that Tony is there. Boys, what's the subtlety?
The ball was on the ground. You missed it.
Hold on. I'll check for you. What you got?
Ball's on the ground, dude. Missed it bigger than shit.
He's safe. All
right,
thanks. No, here's the real. Greg knows if I tell him he missed it bigger because we've worked enough together, he knows I'm not playing, right? Because if he asks me, I go, I think it was on the ground, but I'm not, right? So when I go in and I tell him, look, you missed that big, you kick, he knows that there's no reason to have any more discussion. I am 100% sure what I just saw.
But what else did I do?
You turned him.
I spun it. Because I wanted to look over his shoulder. Because I would like to believe this guy might have thought that he missed something, but the guy base umpire didn't confirm it. But I want to be able to see him in order to, and if he's taking any steps towards me, I'm good. And honestly, if you're the base umpire, you don't need to be running. Don't get into my mess, but you should be walking. And if I, as the plate umpire, am so lost that I haven't looked at you, then come here, Tommy. Come here. Tommy, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean,
I'm going to try to get in a way not to get in his mess. It's hard here, but I'm going to try to get in his eye line. I'm going to try to get in his eye line.
All right, hold on.
And I might even say, Greg. Greg and I work enough together and we know each other well enough. I'm gonna go, Greg, like that. And hey, come here. That's because I'm 100% sure. I know this happened with Matthew Pierman and I in a game, in a 3-man game to play third base. Same thing, ball went rolling away at third base. Pierman's whacking him out. I was behind the plate. I took 2 steps out. I go, whoa. Hey, Matthew, ball's on the ground over there. Just like that. He goes, oh, okay, that's safe. It was the only runner we had, and I knew what was coming next. But you have to have some rapport with the guys you're working with and then understand the league you're working in, the things like that. It was in a league where I could get away with doing that. If we were working out at U of R, there'd be no way in heck I would do that. And I would come and I would try to get in his eye line. Some real kind of old school stuff too. Guys will tell you, take off your hat. Screw that nonsense. Don't take off your hat and stand there in the middle of the field with your hat. Find the guy, get in his eye line, and try to get him to look at you so you can look at him bigger and go, dude, right? And if that doesn't work, go down there and go call his name.
Do not let another pitch happen without fixing this. Guys, I'm telling you, back in the day, we would live and die with our calls. There is a mom that will have that freaking thing on Twitter before the game is over.
Probably being uploaded while you're arguing.
That's what's going to happen. And here's the thing. If it happens out at second base off towards center field, I can live with that because the plate umpire is probably not going to have an idea. But if we die with things that just because we're trying to be old school, that we're not going to change it, it's wrong. It's straight up wrong.
Again, think about priorities. This is, again, why I saw the ball on the ground if I'm one of the other umpires. What are your priorities? Ball strike, fair foul, safe out. Ball strike is all gone here. Fair foul is all gone here. What's the next responsibility? Safe out. If you're an umpire looking at something other than safe out, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't care if the guy touched or didn't touch at first base. I don't care if there's obstruction. I care about safe out because that's the most important thing on this play.
Okay? So in this case, first of all, if this happens and we continue to miss it, the all-important question that you should ask yourself, is this going to create a phone call for Greg? If the answer to that is yes, even if it's not, you got to fix it. But here's the problem. If this doesn't, Kyle just told me, these two guys stayed old school. They didn't fix it when they could have. But if you miss it, and I see this video, who am I going to be most upset at?
Martin.
I'm aggravated at Tony. He screwed the whole daggone crew. Or he's only got one fielder looking at him. That's where the play's at. All right. So fix the stuff. Leave all that other stuff back in the 80s and 90s. Let's get these plays right if we can. All right. Sorry, guys.
Pretty much wrapped up.
You want to go to the question?
Yeah. Well, let's
Go ahead. Question. Go ahead.
Nobody older than me.
I don't know. Andy's over there waving his arms. I don't know why.
If you want to be so set, if you want to be right all the time and you're not going to listen to the guys in the field with you, then I'm going really. Probably really opposite.
It's they're there for themselves. They're not there for the crew. It's the old school mindset in professional baseball.
Because they may see something that you can't see.
Right. Everybody there knew it was on the ground but him. Everybody knew it was on the ground but him. And he probably even knew it was on the ground because it looks like he glances over and whacks him out anyway. Because he's already starting that motion. And he's on TV. What, Tony? Mm-hmm. But
yes, Jeffifa.
Same situation you just did. If Coach comes out, he's already decided Greg's an idiot, he can lose the ball. He goes after Tony and approaches him first.
Nope. Watch like that. Nope. You want to go talk to Greg? You talk to Greg. I'll walk you right down there. Come on. Let's go. No. And what Greg's going to be doing is going, no. Over here, Dave. Talk to me.
if he's close to you, try and keep him there. Hey, no, talk to me, talk to me. I'm the one that made the call, talk to me. It was my
And if he
call,
walks
not his.
away, tell him, don't walk away from me. If you go down there, you might get run. If he keeps going, go, look, I'm telling you now, if you leave, I'm warning you, you're going to get run. He takes another step, okay, go on. Now I write the report to Greg. I said, Greg, he came down, argued the call. He wants to go to my partner. I told him not to go to my partner.
Press the back
Then I warned him not to go to my partner.
to get out of the video.
I warned him not to go to my partner. He continued
Who's gonna
on
do the
again.
question?
That's my report. I've already read my report because I already know what I'm going to say. Greg reads that, he sends it to the AD. The AD goes, he gave you 2 chances to stop and you didn't? What do you think?
You're the one who just missed the calls and rolled out.
Doesn't matter. But look, if you think that, speaking of getting out of the 90s, okay, or the 80s, just because you kick the call doesn't mean that guy's entitled to abuse you. You're not, that guy doesn't get to chew on you longer because you think you missed the call. If you miss the call and you know it, and you don't go to get some help to fix it, okay? Or if that guy abuses you and you're not sure whether you got it right and you can't change it and you don't, and he's not entitled to any more abuse. Once he starts, we've been around this, we've done plenty of argument thing, maybe we'll do this, we'll talk about argumentation and doing this again because it doesn't ever hurt to go through how to do it over and over and over again, right? But no, you cannot allow a person, that old school mentality of, there's no place in any umpire manual that I've ever read, or any rule book that I ever read that says, oh, and by the way, if you miss the call, he's entitled to abuse you. Nowhere. The fact that we used to believe that irritates the heck out of me. And the reason that we used to believe that is because we didn't know about this stuff. We didn't know about laws of umpiring. We didn't know about priorities. People were umpiring by the seat of their pants. They are anticipating things. Go back and watch some old videos of even old big league stuff. Right? Doug Harvey just died last week or week before. And he said the thing that changed him was he made a call at first base. They saw a pitcher. He was calling the dude out. The ball was in the air this far away. And that's when he decided, whoa, the things we are doing for umpiring aren't going to work. We need to fix this. And that was the beginning of what we do now, the more modern way to umpire. None of that is necessary. That guy has no right to abuse you ever. And if he's abusing you and you take it, shame on you because you're making it harder on the rest of us. Because that means now that dude doesn't understand the rules of engagement. And then he runs into me and he starts barking at me. And I go, whoa, shooter, I don't know who you think you are, but we're not barking at me. Whoa, dude. So now we put him in a bad position. Right now, you put him in a position for me to dump him because I'm not going to listen to it. It's just not right. Don't be abused. You're not out there to be abused. And we'll talk, maybe that's what we'll do Monday. We'll talk about handling situations a little bit.
Just one more point. It is not routine while it is happening. Right? So we had that catcher's interference video with the Orioles and Raider.
Oreos?
Whatever.
Another team.
Who cares about teams? Right? We had the ball pitch up. It was a ball all the way, right? Most likely we had a runner at first base. Most likely it was a hit and run going on. That's why the Texas Rangers guy swung. It was routine in the fact that it was a pitch high up, so you kind of give up. You're going, okay, it's probably going to be a ball. That umpire didn't give up on the play, right? Because he saw all of a sudden the batter going, oh crap. And started to swing. And now he has to start thinking, am I going to have batter's interference? Am I going to have catcher's interference? Do I still have to call the pitch? No play is routine while it is happening. And that's why we have to wait until it's over for the law. But we're just going to condense it down to no play is ever routine. Questions about that? No. So, does anybody think they've already figured out who did it with what? Don't say it.
Don't say it. Raise your hand if you think you figured it out.
Just raise your hand.
All right, not even half. I know.
No, we know. We just wanted to see if you guys.
All right, give him the last question.
All right, while you're answering this last question or looking at this last question, we got one more thing to do. If you want, you can read it.
We gotta switch over to
Yeah.
Bases loaded with 1 out, batter hits the ground ball to the first baseman who tags first base. Now you have 2 outs. He then throws to the second baseman who tags out R1 for the 3rd out. R3 crosses the plate before R1 was tagged, but he missed the plate. All infielders are still on the field. What's next?
Have worked your way through all of the answer or quit the ballots and you have made your selection, pass the ballots aisles to the 2 aisles, and we'll pick them up. And we'll talk about something real quick, and then we'll figure out who's getting whatever we're getting.
While you're doing that real quick, Mark is going to come up. We're going to talk about the high school rule changes. I'll take 10 minutes really quick or less. Talk about the high school rule changes. There's been a couple changes in rules. Then after we're done, Bob has asked that we sign the attendance sheet. Okay, so you're going to sign the attendance sheet. And if you have emailed Bob,
slide your ballots down. This is going to be short and sweet. All right, this is going to be short and sweet. Here we go. Let's go. All right, so for this year, pretty simple. You only got one rule change that really freaking matters. Okay? And this really ain't a big deal because this is common sense. A non-wood bat cannot have anything that sticks out, protrudes, or any of those other words and creates a potential hazard. Think we can handle that? Think you can handle that? That's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. I don't know. But that is really the only rule that has changed or been clarified that matters, that makes any sense. This doesn't come into effect until 2020. So do we care about it? Not really. It says catchers have got to wear the Noxay helmet. They don't have to this year. The batter does. But the catcher does not have to have a Noxay helmet until 2020.
No, hell.
No.
It's adding body chest protector. The helmet has always had to be Noxay. It's the body chest protector part.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. The helmet.
No, helmet has always had to be
helmet
Noxay. And it has to be one piece. By the way, we've had some problems with this.
Catchers cannot wear helmets and masks. They have to wear
They have to wear one piece
Hockey
and it
style.
has to say Noxay on it, period. It's not hard. If a catcher comes out wearing a helmet and a mask, figure out a way to fix it.
And if they do not, this is a non-negotiable safety rule. They must fix it. You are liable if you allow it to continue. You may be liable if you allow it to continue. So if little Johnny comes out there and he's got a 2-piece and you go, hey, shooter, you can't do that. He goes, what's the only one I got? Coach, you got to find another one. You got to borrow from another team. You got to do whatever you do. You cannot use this, period. George. It's what? No. That's straight. No. Time out. No. Does not matter. Scrimmage, varsity, JV, doesn't freaking matter. If you are playing under high school rules and that is a high school or that is a scholastic kid, he cannot be without a Noxay bucket helmet and what goes with it. Yes. Private too, right? They have said all along that they're playing by the same rules everybody else is. What does the book say? Yeah, the Little League, I think the Little League, Tommy says it has to be the dangling kind.
Has to be a dangling pro guard.
Okay. And the hockey style mask comes down about yay big. That's okay. Okay. The high school, they just got to have the Noxay bucket helmet. Okay. Wow, that was way more than I thought it was going to be. Hey, if a batter overruns first base or goes past first base on a walk, newsflash, he can go back to first base. Okay. Okay, points of emphasis this year, bench jockeying. We call it bench jockeying in college baseball and high school baseball. It's just sportsmanship. They can't be yelling at the other team from the dugout, period. Just stop it. And we're not doing that today? Okay, coach, we're not doing that today, okay? Can you take care of that for me? Okay, do what you got to do. Because look, all that stuff just turns into more stuff later. They start yapping at the other pitcher, then they're going to yap at the other team, and then it just turns into crap. And in the fifth inning, you got people MFing each other and all that kind of. No. Stop it. Just stop it. Okay. We talk about this every year. Jewelry is illegal in high school baseball. It's a safety thing. Okay. Whatever. Call the rule. Look, we're there to arbitrate the game, right? Just call the rules the way they're written. Do what you got to do. Okay? Oh, hang on. Somebody asked me this already during the break. Proper pitching positions. That's a point of emphasis. Greg, I'm going to defer to you. So if I say anything stupid, just jump right in because I know you will anyway. Look, this whole hybrid crap. If there's nobody on base, who cares? Who cares? If nobody's on base, who cares? If he's not got his feet in the appropriate position and there's nobody on base and the other team's coach wants to pick the booger and make a big deal about it, okay, I'll get a better look at it. If he keeps doing it, fix it. Otherwise, leave it alone. Just move on. Now, runners on base, dude's got to either be in a windup or he's got to be in the set. If he's not, he's cheating. Get it. Okay? Don't be afraid to get it. Did I say anything bad? Okay. Okay, we're paid to be there, so call the rules. Enforcing safety rules, we just went through this with the bucket. That's not negotiable. Force play slide, helmets, taking helmets off when they're still in play, all that kind of stuff. Guys, it's safety. You can be liable. Okay? VHSL covers your insurance up to whatever it is that they cover, but you have insurance, but you don't want to go through all that crap. Just enforce the rules. Players and coaches inside dugout is a safety rule. Let me say that again. Players and coaches are a safety rule. Get them in the dugout. They cannot sit outside on a bucket. Joe Girardi doesn't stand outside calling pitches. They don't need to either. Get them in the dugout. Jewelry is a safety rule. Force play slides is a safety rule. Enforce rules fairly and prudently. Look. White and gray sleeves on a pitcher is illegal. Okay? Enforce it. Undershirt sleeve lengths is a rule. So what? Seriously, so what? Unless the other coach complains, so what? The guy in left field that doesn't have the same sort of color, the same length sleeve is a booger. Okay? We call it boogers. Don't pick boogers. Sunglasses on a pitcher is not distracting unless the other team says it is. Leave it alone. Don't pick boogers. As a former booger picker, don't pick boogers. Okay, just don't pick boogers. But call what you need to call. Okay, those are not us. That's VHSL. That's their points of emphasis. Little League rule, Tommy brought this up. Look, you got to have that logo on a bat. Any questions next? Okay. There's all of our stuff. You guys already know that. Facebook, Twitter. We actually have a YouTube channel that we're using now. We'll put that out on Monday because it's like yay long. Just search for it. Okay, as another offender, if you're going to go on social media, who maybe has gone on Facebook before and all that kind of crap, you can share stuff, not game-specific stuff. Greg gets a little, we just don't do that. Don't talk about where you were. Don't talk about specific games. Don't talk about specific people. Don't talk about pay. Don't talk about the moms in the crowd or the dads in the crowd. Does that get you up, Greg? That gets you what? It gets you in trouble.
Don't screenshot your RV schedule and put it on Facebook.
Good?
A lot of that happens.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
All right. Turns out you guys are a lot smarter than Chris thought you were.
Well,
I think we
especially
had
since the last one gave it away.
25 or 26, get them all right. All right, that's awesome. That's really cool. That means we're learning something. That's really cool. So what we have is we've randomly chosen 2 guys to get black shirts. Okay, the new black shirt. Unfortunately, by the time we went and talked to the guy back there,